Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's June 11th, and we're calling the Common Council meeting to order. I will ask the clerk to call the roll to establish a quorum.
Alderperson Keene. Here. Novak. Here. Noling. Here. Rote.
Here.
Turner. Here. Weigel.
Here.
Grisham. Here. Grobe. Here. Haas.
Here.
Halverson.
Here.
10 present.
Okay, please rise if you are able and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led this evening by Alderwoman Keene. Okay, we'll move on to Part D of our agendas. We have 6 public hearings this evening, and I will ask our clerk to read out public hearing number 1.
Ordinance to rezone various properties on the north side of the 6400 block of West Greenfield Avenue to C3 and P and create a planned unit development overlay district.
Thank you. Turn it over to staff when you're ready.
Thanks, Mayor. My name is Steve Sherman, the Manager of Planning and Zoning, and the first hearing this evening is with reference to a couple underutilized properties, actually 5 to be exact, between 64th and 65th and Greenfield Avenue. The city's identified this as a redevelopment plan over the past year, and recently, at the interest of a developer, HH Development, who is interested in these 5 parcels of land and doing a mixed-use redevelopment of this property with 8 townhome units as well as another 11 apartment units. And then reorientating the green space, which is currently location number 1 here, over to part of parcels 4 and 5 on the southwest corner of the site. So with that, the changes that we'll get into later, I have the development plans in the later part of this presentation, but the main focus of this presentation tonight for this public hearing is the rezoning from commercial in some cases to different types of commercial, as when converting some properties from residential to commercial, and then creating a planned development or planned unit development overlay. So this is the existing zoning map showing the current project area. Everything outlined within that black dashed area is the subject location of this redevelopment and the areas to be rezoned. The frontage along Greenfield Avenue is currently C3 zoning, and then the small lot, which is currently a parking lot, surface parking lot to the northwest, is C2 commercial, and then you have an RB residential zoning district on the northeast parcel, which is also a surface parking lot. All of these parcels will be rezoned from, the individual zonings to C3 commercial, and then over the top of that, within that hashed area, a planned unit development. And the purpose of the planned unit development is that under conventional zoning, under the C3 zoning, for instance, you can only have one principal building on a lot, or one principal use on that lot. The planned unit development offers the developer a little bit more flexibility in having more than one principal building, and we'll get into the actual development proposal, site planning later, but they propose 2 individual principal use buildings on this the main lot between 64th and 65th and Greenfield and south of that alley. And then additionally, under conventional zoning, you can't have a freestanding principal use parking lot in a C3 or a commercial zoning district. It has to be associated with a use on that lot. So the planned unit development in this case that's going to be created as an overlay district over the underlying zoning is going to create that flexibility for the developer to realize this vision, and in return, the city benefits by improving and redeveloping underutilized land within this Greenfield Avenue corridor area. So this is the future, I guess, the rezoning that would take place along Greenfield Avenue. You'd have the overall properties rezoned to C3, and then the a park district being created in that lower southwest corner. And then in summary of the different changes that would be taking place here, the 6400 property, which is area number 1 here, that's currently a green space. It's Zone C3 commercial, and a planned unit development district would be overlaid over the top of this entire area as outlined in blue. Parcel number 2 here is a property, a surface parking lot zoned RB that would be rezoned to commercial, and then with that PUD overlay. The land use map being amended from underutilized to commercial mixed use. And then the parcel 3, which is a surface parking lot, being rezoned from C2 to C3 commercial with a PUD planned unit development overlay district. The land use map being amended from underutilized to commercial mixed use. And then both properties, the number 4 and 5, they're currently zone C3, but having that PUD overlay over the top. And then this green space here would be a future park that would be dedicated to the city. It will be improved by the developer and created by the developer and then dedicated to the city. The developer would, as part of a development agreement, would continue to maintain that area for the city. But that area also being dedicated, the land use map being amended to park, from commercial mixed use to park. In terms of the actual development proposal itself, so we talked about the rezoning, which is the main purpose of this public hearing. But in terms of why rezone, this is the, I guess, the proposed eventual redevelopment that is being proposed, and it went before the city's planning commission for design review last month. It will also be there's a development agreement being crafted by the developer and our economic development team, and that development agreement would come before the community development authority, and it'll come back to the common council July 10th. But in terms of the exterior look for this property, it varies between a 2-story and a 3-story development. The apartments that would be, or the townhomes that would be located a little bit further west on towards 65th Street would be the 2-story variety with walkout patios and porches. 2-story units, individual 8 townhome units within this area. Parking accessible from the alley behind, along with an additional slab. And then the mixed-use building would also feature a little bit of a step up, and that'd be on the corner of 64th and Greenfield Avenue, featuring a lap siding material, large windows wrapping around the entire building, some railed balconies and multiple patios being incorporated within that development. The unique part of that mixed-use building is that it will have a retail component, about a 2,500 square foot retail component on the ground floor fronting Greenfield Avenue. And that retail component will open up to the future park area facing Greenfield Avenue and 65th Street. It will have a westerly view, more sunshine, and openness and interaction with Greenfield Avenue. In terms of floor plans, the mixed-use building has a lower 2-bedroom unit apartment, storage lockers, hallway, stair access. The first floor has 2 1-bedroom units, with a commercial space. And in terms of the, and the second and third floor have a total of 8 units. The unit mix itself, within the mixed-use building, it will have 6 1-bedroom units, 2 1-bedroom units with dens, and then 3 2-bedroom units. The floor areas range between 8 to 950 square feet. And then the 8 townhome units are all 3 bedrooms and approximately about 1,700, just under 1,700 square feet apiece. And the different lot sizes, the 5 parcels being consolidated into 4 parcels as part of a certified survey map process, also on the agenda this evening. And again, just sort of the mix of uses. Lot 1 here is the, just from plan view, looking down on this, these are the 8 townhome units in Lot 1. And then also on Lot 1 is a separate building. This is the mixed-use building with a lower unit retail, as well as 11 apartments. And then Lot 2 will continue to be surface parking. Lot 3 will continue to be surface parking. And then the outlot is about a 6,000 square foot park that would be dedicated to the city on the southwest corner. There would be a total of 16 garage stalls for the townhomes, one garage per townhome, as well as an additional slab behind, behind this off of the alley. So a total of 16 for the townhomes, and then about 25 parking stalls for the combination of the retail use as well as the apartments. And that would be accommodated in lots 2 and 3 here, and a small number of parking stalls here on lot 1. And those would be divvied up amongst the retail as well as the different apartment units. And that distribution or delineation is just conceptually shown here, but the brighter pink red color here is the retail parking area, about 9 parking stalls. And then these blue areas are for the different tenants within the 11-unit apartment building. And then the townhomes have these, an interior garage space on the ground floor as you come in off of the alley, as well as an offset garage or slab right behind the garage area. There is additional on-street parking within the area. This is just a small sample shown around the street frontages of Greenfield Avenue, respective of the bus stop. Developers also seeking a loading drop-off zone at the corner of 64th and Greenfield Avenue. That would be arranged through our city's engineering department via permit. And alley access would continue to be maintained. This is a T-alley that extends north-south from Madison Street down to an east-west alley that runs between east-west between 64th and 65th Street. All that would remain public. There's a small amount of dedication being offered by the developer to the city for some additional alley right-of-way. That was a request of our city engineering department. But other than that, the surface parking behind this area will primarily be very similar to how it appears now. So Plan Commission has recommended approval. The public, this has been noticed in the official paper. Notice has been sent out to properties within 200 feet. We've received 2 objections with respect to the loss of green space at the corner of 64th and Greenfield. However, I would note that this is part of a larger redevelopment plan. We're also, there's mitigation of that green space that's taking place from 64th Street over to 65th Street. And that future park space that's being proposed as part of this development does align with 65th. And if you go north and south on 65th, it runs directly into our farmers market and those redevelopment area further south of National. And if you take 65th north, it does run past this development as well as a future development area that includes motor castings. That site has been demolished, and the city's actively trying to redevelop that. So I'll turn it over to Sean next, but this concludes my public hearing, and if there's any questions, thank you. Let's see if there's any questions. This isn't advancing.
Mr. Miller, are you doing hearing number 2?
I am Mayor Devine.
Okay, sorry, I wasn't sure if you were partnering on public hearing number 1. Thank you. Are there any questions on public hearing number 1 from the common council members? All right. Are there any questions or comments on public hearing number 1 from the members of the audience? If there is, please go up to the podium and sign in either before or after your comments, and then hit the bottom right button to turn on your microphone. And then please give us your name and address just so we have it for our record. You can go whenever you're ready. It's up here.
So sign in first?
You can sign in after your comments if you want. Yeah.
Okay, I have a question about...
Can you give us your name and address,
Oh,
though,
I'm sorry.
please?
My
That's
name
okay.
is Kelly Starr King. I live at 6330 West Greenfield Avenue, so our condominium faces the park right now. I guess there's several of us here who are wondering what the logic is of taking the big, beautiful, mature trees, which is half of that property, and reducing it to a smaller park on the other side. I did hear the corridor down to the farmer's market, but is it possible to save some of those trees on that side, still have this project come to fruition, but save some of those trees? And I don't know who I'm talking to, if I'm talking to you or... Okay.
Probably towards staff, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, has it been considered, you know, that all of our west-facing units, and there's some of our residents here today, they're going to be facing, they're looking at a beautiful park right now. All those are going to be gone. So what is going to be in its place, I think, is the most important thing for us if this project, and I guess I would like to know, how far along is this project? Is this a sure thing, this is happening, or do we have a say in the matter at this point?
This is the public hearing this evening for consideration of the rezoning. The rezoning is one of the necessary steps that sets the stage for, you know, the future redevelopment of this site. And the city is, you know, as part of its comprehensive planning and strategic vision, we need to redevelop sites that are underutilized within the city. And that is a beautiful green space on the corner of 64th and Greenfield. It's been there for a number of years. It has 12, you know, fairly, you know, very mature trees. And to set the stage for redevelopment, we looked at a number of different alternatives, ranging from adaptive reuse of the existing buildings that are there, the Spotlight Lounge and the Crawdaddy's building, and it was an adaptive reuse for a restaurant, a notable restaurant in the metropolitan area. And unfortunately, that deal didn't come together for the adaptive reuse. And that would have maintained the park, you know, the green space on 64th and Greenfield, and just renovated the existing buildings on site. That deal didn't go forward. The developer, in that case, walked away. We looked at another redevelopment with another developer, which would have been more density, taller buildings, and again, some removal of that park for, you know, for buildings and like a plaza of sorts. But those trees would have gone with that proposal as well. In working with JHH, their development plan calls for mid-range. It's less density. It's not as dense as the prior redevelopment plan, and so it's fewer units, and we think it fits the scale of the neighborhood. They did take some consideration into, you know, keeping things as is with the park. However, that would have meant that they would have had to, if building around that park, they would have been doing underground parking, you know, as sort of the surface layer, with taller building around the park, and it wouldn't have necessarily fit the scale, because you would have had to build out the lot right up to that north property line, perhaps over, you know, removing the alley. It would have been a lot denser than is currently proposed. So we feel that this is a good balance between what we've seen from other developers, and we feel it's respective of the neighborhood scale. We understand that, you know, you're losing a green space across the street. However, it's being mitigated. You're gaining a green space that's going to be potentially more programmed and more active and visible along Greenfield Avenue.
But
it's going to have more sunlight.
How much smaller is this green space than the existing?
It's 6,000 square feet. So the existing park is about 12,000 square feet.
Yeah.
No. That's the misprint. Then it's the outlot that's being proposed is 6,000 square feet. The existing green space that's there right now is about 12,000 square feet.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
12,000 square feet.
Okay.
So the existing, I mean, the existing area is, it's a path with some benches, and it's very shady. Now there's mature trees, which are wonderful, but I think with the new development and the creation of an active retail space, the relocation of the park to the corner of 65th and Greenfield is going to play into the public and the public realm along Greenfield Avenue, activating the street a bit more, as well as promoting, you know, future businesses within this development. And it's still a park. It's still going to be in your neighborhood right next door.
Okay. The units that are looking into the park right now, you made mention of asking the city for a shipping and receiving lane, what's going to be on the side of the building that's we're facing, it's on our west side, so what's going to be on your easternmost side of the building that our residents are going to be looking directly at? A shipping and receiving lane?
No, you'll be looking at, the same street that's there today. The difference that I indicated here with the drop-off, they're showing some handicap accessible loading areas along Greenfield Avenue and 64th, right here in the corners.
Right
So
there,
this faces
all
your
of
street. There's
those.
2 parking stalls.
Okay,
there's-
what's on that side of the building? Is that going to be shipping and receiving, factory looking, or do you have anything that shows us that side of the building? So our residents who are here now looking at this beautiful park, which is not underutilized, by the way, we overlook this park, it's utilized.
This is the look of the building. There's windows all around this building.
Do you have
I
the
mean,
back side of the building? I mean, I'm looking at the cafe in the top right, right?
Yeah. It'll look very similar to this. This is
Okay.
actually the west side. And unfortunately, my slides aren't advancing, so I'm stuck just sort of clicking on this, so I don't have, I could meet with you afterward during recess and show
That-
you more detail on what that east elevation does look like from your view from the condos.
Wonderful. And I don't know who's speaking. Is that you behind the computer? I can't see. All right, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm looking for a
Yeah.
mouth moving. Okay. All right, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Sure. Thank you. Anybody else have questions on this public hearing item? Go ahead.
My name is Scott Schwendeman. Thanks, everyone, for giving us an opportunity to voice our opinions on this. Looks like a great project. I wish it was flipped 180 degrees, and we could save most of those trees. The trees really are just part of the issue. It says up there that Lot 1 is 1,966 feet, and it is zoned park currently. Is that correct?
No.
Who
I
said
don't know, what are you referring to?
Right there, Lot
Okay.
1.
Yeah, Lot 1 is this
Is-
L-shaped on its side. This is the park, the 12,500 square foot green space that's there today,
What
plus
number is that?
number 1.
It says 1966,
Yeah.
doesn't
Let
it?
me go back a couple just to help you out there. So here is what is today. Number 1 is the green space that you're referring to at 6400 Greenfield Avenue,
Mhm.
which is 12,000 square feet.
Where's the other 6? Or
That's all
7,000?
that is today. If you were to take the boundaries of that park, which includes surface parking lot and the green space, that's 12,000 square feet. That's what if you live east of here, that's what you look at, surface parking and green space.
So I still don't understand the discrepancy. Maybe you can help me with that. Where's the other 7,000
What's happening is with,
square feet?
yeah, what's happening is with the difference in the, let me go. The consolidation of lots is what's taking place to create Lot 1 and then parts of Lot 5, 4, and 5 to create that L shape, which is 19,000 square feet.
So
So it's adding
if I could,
4 and
Steve,
5.
lot 4 and 5 are the
Yeah.
6,000 feet you're asking for. It's the building.
Yes.
Okay. I guess my other concern, and it was brought up by the first speaker, are there any time restraints? I used to live next to a restaurant and constantly was woken up at 2 or 3 in the morning when deliveries hit, when the back of the truck drops down. I'm concerned about ambient light. We've had that issue transgressing off of the old Alice Chalmers building, which is at least 2.5, maybe 3 blocks away from us, lighting up that side of the building. I don't know what the code issues are in regards to the decibels that we can handle there, but if we have an active loading zone right there, that changes the whole complex of that street as it currently exists. And you're impacting not only those 11 people that are on that side of our complex, but that will roll into the rest of the units too, as appraisals hit and people sell and get out of Dodge. That's a big concern for our building as a whole. If this project was just flipped, you could have that park there to a certain extent. You'd have commercial on the other side, where another commercial building is on the other side, a restaurant. There is no corridor right now to the park or the farmer's market, unless you want to count National Avenue, which runs parallel to it. I would say that's the corridor.
We're also looking at redeveloping further north in the north and west of the motor casting site.
Well,
Along
I
65th
just
Street.
want to focus on this issue.
Sure.
And how it impacts the people that own that park, us, the citizens of West Allis.
So I'm sorry, sir, are you asking a question, or I guess I'm missing it if you are?
I asked a couple of questions in regards to the decibels allowed,
Well, the decibel,
the
I'm sorry.
time frame for deliveries, what size trucks, what kind of lighting is going to be there.
We have rules on hours of operation depending on what the use will be. There are restrictions on, that's me talking now.
Thank you.
There is display limitations on the lighting for whatever would go in there. There are decibel levels at certain reading points from the distance of, from your residences to whatever goes in there, which would be enforced. And there are also quiet hours in the city after, I believe it's after 10 p.m. and before 6 a.m. or 7 a.m.
Well, that's comforting. I just hope you all do your diligence in regards to those to make it livable for the people that are there now. I think that's really important.
I think it's all about balance.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah.
And thank you, too, for answering my questions.
Thank you. Are there any other questions, comments on public hearing number 1?
Hi, good evening. I'm all for development in West Allis, and I moved to 6330 Greenfield in September of 2010, and I purchased my unit based on that green space. So when I'm on the 3rd floor, so when you walk into my unit, I have patio doors and then picture windows on either side of the patio door. So when you walk in, you see that beautiful green space. And like the first speaker mentioned, that green space is used by the neighborhood. And with neighbors that have dogs, and they do pick up after their dogs, and there's benches there, people sit there and read. There are several benches, and all of our condos have been reassessed in May. And it really is the first assessment since I've been in my condo in 14 years. And now I'm concerned as to if I were to sell my condo and they walk in, and are they going to see concrete? And that's my biggest concern. Are my taxes going to go up, but the view is not going to be there? And that's my biggest concern, because it's been assessed higher, but I may not be able to sell it at the right value. And I have the same concerns as the second speaker with regards to lighting and sound, and I think it's a beautiful project. But I would like to see it flipped, as Scott mentioned. Why do we want to cut down 11, 12 trees? Or could we just take half of that green space or a quarter of it? I don't know. I think it's going to devalue my property. And I love where I live, but I think it's going to devalue it. But thank you.
Can you just give us your name and address?
Oh,
too
sure.
also,
It's
please?
Barbara Hudak. It's unit 6330 West Greenfield Avenue.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Does anybody else have questions or comments on public hearing number 1? All right, then we will close. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Carrie Skrzyjewski. City of Milwaukee public school teacher for 20 years, born and raised in Milwaukee. Always comes to West Allis. I always come to West Allis. I see a depreciation in the development. There's no integrity in the structure of the community. It seems to me like you had said project, yeah, like future projects. What about the water resources? You're adding 27 units? Isn't that like, doesn't that weigh on the water resources of a community as well?
I think that, if I could, sorry, Steve.
Can I sit down?
Just, yeah, I mean, the fact that the city of West Allis used to have a population of over 72,000 people back in the 1980s, I don't think that that's, we're at 60,000 right now. And yeah, and 3 factories, and we did have even bakeries that used a lot of water back when they were open. So I don't think we're near capacity on that. I don't know if you have anything more to add.
Yeah, this is 19 units that are being added to the property.
Does that conclude your questions? All right, does anybody else have comments or questions on public hearing number 1? Well, we can always talk during recess too, if, you know, as staff breaks. I mean, if you have another quick one, you can ask it, but. Sure. Thanks. Thanks. If there's nothing else on public hearing number 1, then we will move on to public hearing number 2. And I will ask our clerk to read that out.
Resolution approving the sale of lands located at the following addresses: 6400 West Greenfield Avenue and 1351 South 64th Street.
I'll turn it over to staff.
Thank you, Mayor. My name is Sean Miller. I'm the Development Project Manager for the City of West Allis. This item is to fulfill a statutory requirement. Anytime the city is selling excess lands, there's a public hearing required. So this is a little bit of a unique one in that 2 of the 5 parcels are actually city-owned, parcels 1 and 2 that you see on the map here. And then the other 3 parcels, 4, 4, and 5, are actually owned by the CDA. So there'll be a public hearing in regards to the sale of those 3 parcels next Tuesday, on June 18th, at 6 p.m. here at City Hall. At that meeting, there will be more of the development agreement details and things of that nature will be discussed and will be on that agenda. What we're just talking about to fulfill this requirement of these 2 parcels is the public hearing for the sale of the 12,000 square foot public space, parcel 1, and then the near 4,800 square foot parking lot area of parcel 2. Steve has really covered all of the bullet points that I had here in regards to the reuse of the public space and some of the design and planning that went into this. And the idea behind the development is sort of to fulfill this missing middle housing that the city currently does not offer. The city had a residential market study completed in 2021 that, laid out the, it's a little bit of an obvious point, but that this is a housing type that we do not currently offer and is in high demand and is needed in the area. So this design lent itself to meet that need. Just in general, more of the details are going to be talked about at future meetings. I just want to lay out the schedule so that you are all aware of it. CDA sale of public land and development agreement June 18th, as I talked about. Development agreement then would come back to the council on July 10th. Then we have a joint review board meeting for the creation of the TIF on July 23rd. And then, you know, if all went well, the construction would begin and then would take about a year to complete. Be happy to take any questions that anyone may have on this.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Are there any questions from the members of the Common Council on public hearing number 2?
Mayor Devine,
Alderman Weigel.
Sean, I just wanted to say that I appreciate all the work that's gone into this, as was mentioned earlier. Other development ideas were brought forward for these parcels and couldn't be made to cash flow or couldn't come to fruition. Staff was given directive from this council to protect the park or maintain a park space in that area. Would it be fair to say if we just eliminated the park, that some sort of other bigger developments would be forthcoming because it would offer a little more opportunity for a developer? Developers don't do these things out of the goodness of their hearts. They need, these things need to make money.
Right, and that's a big part of this too is the elevation of it. It drops down as you go back into the parking area. So if you had to build over that parking area, it creates a difficult economic situation. You really would have to add a number of levels of density in order to make
Yes,
it
it would have to
cash
be,
flow.
it would have to be maybe 5 stories tall.
It's your typical kind of 4 stories over parking, 5
Yeah.
stories, yeah.
Yeah.
And so that was looked at, and that is a development also that's in need in the area. The area needs housing, but the decision on this was to lower the density and create something that kind of transitions into the neighborhood nicely and fulfills a housing need that the city has.
Yes. So I'm not going to say that it's like this deal or nothing, but it could sit another 2, 3, 4 years with obviously no activity, no taxable value, no people living there, no people working there, no energy. The park is nice. I would suggest that we be as aggressive on keeping that green space nice as possible. And I understand, although they're going to give the green space to the city, the development's going to be responsible for maintaining it, so that won't even be on the city. I think, we talked about this in the CDA about the trees. It was a conversation there, and trees will be planted. And yes, it'll take 20 years for the trees to get big, but somebody planted those trees probably 40, 50 years ago, and they wouldn't live forever either way, right? So I understand that there's going to be some people that are unhappy with the change of the view, but it will be a brand new building up to the best aesthetic standards that we have. And I think we see some typical of what the building looks like. It's not going to be a cement wall. Will there be porches and patios on the east side? Remember?
Yes.
I see a head nod from the developer. So yeah, so it'll be a nice looking building. And that loading zone down below is really just going to be a loading zone, essentially, right? There's not going to be any special equipment there or anything, loading docks or anything?
It's more of for today's consumers, DoorDash type thing, quick drop off. If you had a cafe or a little restaurant there, just a spot to be able to drop off, pick up type thing. But not meant for large trucks or. Right, correct. It's meant to be fit into the neighborhood and not make big changes in that direction.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Weigel. Any other questions from the members of the council? Seeing none, are there any questions from the members of the audience on public hearing number 2? All right, seeing none, we will close public hearing number 2. I will ask our clerk to read out public hearing number 3.
Vacation and discontinuance of an improved alley between West Lincoln Avenue and West Grant Street and within the 2200 block of South 108th Street and South 109th Street.
Thank you. Turn it over to staff.
Thanks, Mayor. This section of alleyway extends from Grant Street, which is just north of Lincoln Avenue and west of Highway 100. And it extends and ends in the dead ends into the Health Hut, basically, at the Lincoln Plaza. And it's being proposed, our city engineering department has, city's basically petitioning the council to vacate this section of alley right-of-way. It has been improved last year, and there has been outreach to the neighborhood, just basically indicating the proposed alley vacation. There's only one address, one garage, residential garage that, or lot that benefits from this small little chunk of right-of-way. So, and that is this property here on 109th. Their alley, or their garage, backs up and is serviced by this alley. With the vacation process, the property is split. Half of it goes to abutting property owners, in this case to the east, and the other half go to the property owners to the west, and it becomes private and taxable property maintained by the future property owners. So this is just the area that would be vacated. There has been public notice to the 4 abutters along this stretch of alleyway. And the zoning, there's currently no need to change zoning in this area. Should ownership change and say the benefactor, I guess, of the abutters, let's say here on the east, these residential properties, if the gas station here were to deed their property over to the residential property owners, you know, we need to take a look at rezoning this. But in the current configuration, the idea is that the properties to the east would obtain half of the alley, the property owners to the west would obtain the other half, and the zoning could stay as is. So no zoning map changes at this time are recommended. The Plan Commission has reviewed this and has recommended Common Council approval. We've received no objections to date, to my knowledge, and people may certainly object to this, and should people object, you know, the council can still decide to, you know, vacate it or not, but it would require a 2/3 vote of the council to override any objection. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Scher. Are there questions from the council members on public hearing number 3?
Mayor Devine?
Alderwoman Keene?
Just so I have that right, so the residents, the 2 garages there, those are residential houses? So by vacating this, that portion of that would become part of their owned property, and then they would be responsible for snow removal in winter?
That's correct.
And, yeah, and then most alleys have garbage pickup. Is that garbage pickup in the alley, or do they bring it out front?
I don't know offhand. I'd have to touch base with our DPW, but one of the issues that if they're traveling, if the sanitation vehicle is traveling down this alley now, they're either backing down it or pulling forward and
Right.
backing out. So garbage, you know, with the new configuration would probably need to be left here closer to the driveway, and it would be a little easier pickup process rather than pulling down this way. I honestly don't know what the sanitation vehicles do in this particular situation and the scale, but we could certainly find out.
And there hasn't been any objections from those 2 homeowners, and we know that they received the notice, they read it, that they're aware of what this would cause?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Thanks.
Thank you. Any other questions from the council? Alderman Weigel?
Mayor Devine, thank you. On the snow removal, we wouldn't require them to remove that snow. If we vacate the alley and those 2 garages, we're not, like, you know, we make you shovel your sidewalk, but we don't make you shovel your driveway, correct?
No, I mean,
Yeah,
that's
so
up
we
to the
wouldn't-
private property
We
owner.
wouldn't require them to remove the snow from there, but that would fall on those 2 property owners, if they chose to.
That is their discretion at that point, yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the council?
Mayor Devine,
Alderwoman Grisham?
just to piggyback on that, has there been discussion with DPW as far as the snow removal and whatnot? It seems that maybe we should have some answers, because if these two residents are now responsible for snow removal, we're also looking at our ordinance that you can't place snow into the streets, so where are they putting their snow? I don't want to, spend too much time on this, but it just raised that question for me, if DPW has been consulted.
I believe so. Been working with our engineering team, and we could certainly get that answered
Okay,
at the recess, yeah.
all right, thank you.
I see our Department of Public Works and our city engineer have sprung to life.
So Dave Webking, Director of Public Works. To answer the snow plowing question, yes, we would not provide service for that alley since we would not be responsible for that area. Sanitation and recycling, that is something that we would communicate to the residents if this is in fact passed, to have their residential refuse and recycling containers out in front at curbside, at the curb.
Thank you.
Any questions? Okay.
Does that answer everybody's questions?
Mayor Devine,
Alderwoman Novak?
Dave Webkin, then like what Suzette said, where do they put their snow when they remove it if they can't put it in the street?
So they could put it at the curb if you're looking at the refuse recycling containers by the terrace area. Mhm.
Go ahead.
If I can add, Melinda Dieskey, city engineer. We contacted the property owners, all three of the property owners. Kale, city attorneys helped us out with this quite a bit. And they're gonna work together so that the gentleman with the garage that faces the alley is the main user of that. And the other property owners were very excited to not have to work with the alley. So we have done outreach with this project.
Thank you. Any other questions from the council?
And Mayor Devine,
Alderman Haas?
just to remind everyone, this was, I think, our last gravel alley that was still in use in the city, and we just paved it, and it looks very nice and newly paved, and now we're vacating it. So that's very nice of us.
So we're giving him a nice alley. If there are no other questions from the council, then I will ask if there are any questions from the members of the audience on public hearing number 3.
Hi, my name's Doug Darich. I've owned a house at 2208 South 9th Street. It's the garage at the southern end of the alley. Now, if it's divided between a gas station, which doesn't use the alley, half of it, my neighbor doesn't use it, but I use it. If I shovel my little 49-foot strip outside my garage, are you sure the neighbors are going to do the other 49 feet so I can get out to Grant Street? If the city's not plowing it? Pardon?
I don't think so.
Apparently, you say the gas station owns half of it, the longest strip on the east end down the middle of the alley, correct?
I believe that's what was said, yes.
Yeah, and I'd have 49 feet at the southern end, but I have a neighbor to my north, and they own half the alley there. And if they don't shovel or maintain their piece of the alley, how do I get to Grant Street when we get like a storm or something?
Attorney
Sure.
Decker?
Sir, I'm glad you came tonight. We've been trying to get a hold of you for some time.
Oh, really?
Yes. So, I just told our...
I've got all my mailings from you.
Perfect. Well, either way, you're here now. So
Yep.
if you could talk to the city engineer right after this. We have a solution for this issue,
Oh, you
but we
do?
just want you to
Yeah.
be on board with it. So I'm glad you're here.
Because originally, like my parents bought the house in 1947 after World War II, and it was a gravel alley, of course. And my parents tried for 70 years to get a cement alley. And lo and behold, who always said no? My neighbor to the north and the Shell station at Lyons Highway 100. So now we have it, but it's not, I don't own it entirely. And also, I have to count on a neighbor to my north to plow, shovel their part of the alley. which right now, their garage just empties out on the Grant. They have a little short driveway, like it's been since 1947. Okay.
All right.
All right, so just so you guys understand the situation.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. Thanks for being here. Any other questions from the audience on public hearing number 3? Seeing none, we will close public hearing number 3. We will move on to item 4, and I will ask the clerk to read it out.
Vacation and discontinuance of an improved alley between West Electric Avenue and West Mobile Street, west of South 54th Street.
Turn it over to staff, Mr. Sheriff.
Thanks, Mayor. I promise this is public hearing number 4, despite the 3 up here. But so this section of alley rests between on the west side of 54th Street between Mobile and Electric Avenue. Electric is just north of Lincoln Avenue. And the situation here with respect to the vacation of this section of right-of-way, again, the city engineering and planning are requesting this be vacated. It's no longer being used by city services. It is being used privately, as we understand, but as far as sanitation or city vehicle use down this alleyway, it's no longer being used at all. The reason being is that in the 1970s, this section of alleyway here, which extends of the main, extends further south to Electric Avenue, was put in, basically making this section here obsolete for city use. This is much narrower, whereas this is much wider and better serviced for sanitation vehicles and so on. So with respect to that, reducing the maintenance to the city and no longer being used, obsolete for city services, the city's petitioning council to vacate this area. It has been publicly noticed. We've received at least one concern objection to date with respect to removal of this alley. It's not removal of the alley itself. It is a paved alleyway. It will remain paved. It would just, as a part of the vacation process, it would be split between abutting light industrial uses both on the north and south sides of that alley, and they can do with it as they please. They could continue to use it for their operations, their business operations, but the city no longer uses that and doesn't see a need to continue to maintain that. For those reasons, Plan Commission has recommended approval, and thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions from the council on this public hearing?
Mayor Devine.
Alderman Haas.
Yeah, Steve, who objected? What was their objection? Is that objection from an abutting property owner which triggers the 2/3 requirement?
Yeah, the concern, the objection was from the property owner to the north. And they currently use that for their operations, as I understand it. And they would rather the city, if the city is going to vacate it, they would rather have the city improve that alleyway and then vacate it versus vacating it and it's as is. So that was the principle that I understood.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Any other questions from the council?
Mayor Devine.
Alderman Weigel.
I see on the map it says storm sewer easement. So does that mean that even though if we do the vacation, those property owners couldn't build anything on it, expand because of that storm sewer?
Yeah, you could not develop very much in addition, but you could continue to use it for access.
Yeah, be able to drive through
yeah.
or stop
Right.
and unload.
Yeah.
Is there, I don't think there's any loading docks, doors?
Behind the building, there are some, overhead doors, and I think they use some equipment.
On the alley?
That comes out in and out of the backs of these buildings here. There are some overhead doors back in this area.
Side, on the west sides of the building.
Oh, west side of this alley?
Yeah, no, but on the west side of the building, there's
Oh,
loading
I'm
docks.
sorry, yeah.
Correct?
On the west side, there is an overhead door.
Yeah.
On the machine shop here, as well as other locations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions from the council?
Mayor Devine.
Alderwoman Keene.
Are there approaches on both sides of the alley, like from the street, that anyone driving by could still utilize that alley? even though it's not?
That's true. I mean, when it is vacated, I guess unless the new owners put up a fence or some kind of barrier or no trespassing sign, that would be the discretion of the owners how they want to control that or not.
So right now, how it would be, anyone could still drive down it even though it's technically now privately owned?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions from the council on public hearing number 4? See none. Are there any questions from the audience on public hearing number 4? Please come up to the microphone again.
Good evening. My name is Greg Krzyzewski. The address is 2235 South 54. I own and operate out of the property to the south of the alley. And so we have a machine shop, and the buildings, both buildings, are built on a slope that precludes using the east side of the building for forklift access. And our machine shop utilizes probably 3,000 pounds of material per month, and we use that exclusively for forklift access to the truck on the east side of the building. That street is pretty quiet, and we can do that safely. If that becomes not usable, then we would have to use Electric Avenue and shut it down every time we have a delivery, which happens maybe 2-3 times a week. Because forklift is 8,000 pounds, and we may have a 12-foot piece of material that we need to offload on either Electric Avenue or the other avenue. Plus, you have to somehow transport it down the long alley. And so we kind of need the alley. And 2, there's a 12, I imagine, a large sewer pipe running underneath that alley lengthwise throughout this whole length, and there's a grate about 2/3 down that alley, which means that you can't do anything with it other than use it as an alley. Also, there's utility poles on the south side of that alley, 3 of them, that have electrical power to all the buildings in that area. So there is, I'm sure, an easement that has to be given to utility companies to maintain that. And somehow you'd have to give easement to the service of the sewer system as well. And the last repair that was done to that alley has a date stamped in the concrete. It was 1970, and there was no other repairs or improvements done other than patching of the concrete that's cracked recently.
Thanks for your comments.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep. Any other questions, comments from the audience on public hearing number 4?
My name is Daniel Demboyak. I own the building to the north, 2229 South 54th. And like Greg said, we use that alley all the time for unloading. Today I used that alley and I had to unload 20-foot lengths of steel. And if that alley isn't accessible, I would, like he said, I'll have to go down electric, and there's no way that you can safely drive all the way down the alley, go down Electric Avenue, unload your material without any safety concerns to the drivers, me, to anybody, especially you know how people drive nowadays. They don't care, they don't wait, they just go. That alley has no use to me at all. It's a liability as far as I'm concerned. I was advised to stay away from accepting any part of that alley. And if you showed a nice picture of the alley before that you want to give up, whatever, that's fine. You should add a picture of what that alley looks like right now. It is, you had no problem sending me a letter stating you wanted my building painted because of the neighborhood, the integrity of the buildings and everything else, and I was gonna start getting fined every day. Well, okay, so I stuck out $10,000 to get my building painted. So now my building looks great, and so do the other buildings that everybody's maintaining around there. It's a nice neighborhood. So I called and I asked them, maybe there's something you can do with the alley. It's really crumbling. I mean, I have all kinds of pictures of it. And they said, well, maybe we can put it in for next year's budget. Okay, that was 3 months ago or maybe 2 months ago. All of a sudden, 3 weeks ago, I get this letter that you just want to vacate the alley. It's just really horrible, the alley, the way it looks right now. And I have a video of me driving a fork truck with the semis parked out on 54th Street, nice peaceful area to unload a truck. And it would not work of me going down Electric Avenue, unloading any steel trucks. So it is zoned manufacturing there. That alley is being utilized by the buildings, Greg's, mine, and I've seen other, the printing company down there, they'll ask me once in a while to go down and unload a semi for them. So it's not just me and Greg, but there's other companies that we help out using that alley instead of trying to drive down Electric Avenue and try to get around to unload. Because you semis cannot drive down that alley. They're just way too big. They can't make a turn. That's what I have to say.
Thanks very much.
Mayor Devine.
Yep, Alderwoman Keene.
Steve, a follow-up question. Us vacating the alley doesn't mean that the alley's not going to be there. It can still be utilized
Yeah,
by the businesses to unload fork trucks. Is that correct?
Yes.
During summer, that's great. What happens if nobody can get to taking care of that alley in winter? Then it builds up with ice, we can't get to it. Now I'm hiring plows to do this? Probably is not gonna happen. So then I'm gonna start utilizing Electric Avenue to unload my trucks.
All right, thank you. Can you use the microphone, please, so we can hear you on our broadcast? No, if you can go up to the podium, because otherwise they can't hear you on TV for our viewer audience.
Yes, thank you. I just would like to add that if you then vacate the alley and split it in half, the width of the alley is about 20 feet. And there's poles on half of it that take up several feet of that. And so that would literally leave us with like 6 feet of alley usage if it was divided lengthwise, which still is unusable. If he was to sell the building and the other owner decided to do something else with the alley, then there's no more alley. So vacating and splitting it lengthwise, what does that do as utility? And you say you can use it, but if he parks his truck in the middle of it, then you can't use it. And I understand what vacating means, but you're still not retaining utility of that by vacating and splitting it lengthwise. Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Attorney Decker.
So just for the benefit of the parties that are speaking, when the alley is vacated, it is split down the middle unless there's some other plat that's out there showing otherwise. I assume, based on reversion of title rules, it would be split down the middle. In cases like this, what property owners normally would do when both of them are using it is do a cross easement so that each party gets the right to use the other half for their purposes for private business. And that's usually how this type of issue is solved.
Thank you. Any other questions from the audience on public hearing number 4? All right, we will close our fourth public hearing, and I'll ask the clerk to read out public hearing number 5.
Conditional use permit for Saul's Auto, a proposed light motor vehicle service use at 5312 West Electric Avenue.
Thank you. Mr. Chair?
Thanks, Mayor. A block away is this property at 53rd and Electric Avenue, and the purpose of the hearing this evening is for the conditional use. Light motor vehicle service does require a conditional use permit process before Planning Commission and then public hearing before City Council. Anytime someone's preparing or proposing a, for instance, an automotive repair shop like Saul's. Saul's does routine maintenance, oil changes, brakes and tire rotations, some car detailing. So it's not heavy lifting or heavy repair by any means. It is the more routine passenger vehicle maintenance that's would take place at the site. The zoning is light industrial, and light industrial districts categorize vehicle repair, light motor vehicle services as conditional use requiring this public hearing. The hours of operation are daytime hours, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m., and then Saturdays, 8 to 5 p.m. They'd be closed on Sundays. The site plan is a double fronting lot, both on Electric Avenue and Mobile Street. And the site currently features a large green space fronting Mobile, which would be offer some new trees that have been added as a requirement of the city's planning commission, as well as some foundation plantings and a small tree along Electric Avenue on the south end of the site. The parking lot is currently in place. It is paved and would feature parking for 4 customer parking stalls along the east side of the building, as well as another 4 employee parking stalls along the middle of the site, or north edge of the parking lot paved surface. And there would be 2 areas for completed vehicles on the parallel parked along the east side of the property. There's another light industrial building directly east of this property, as shown here. And that's basically these 2 parking stalls would be parallel parked alongside this building for completed vehicle pickup. The all access, or the repair bay access, is available off of Mobile Street here on the north. And then the internal workings of the building, the repair area, repair bays, are back here within the north end of the building, north half of the building. And there'd be a small storage area, office, and lobby area up in front, fronting Mobile Street. The Planning Commission has recommended approval. There were some conditions of approval, mainly additional landscaping and screening of refuse enclosures on the site. Those conditions have been satisfied, as shown on the plans, thanks to the applicant. We're also asking for some additional lighting details and a signage permit needed for any sign application. So, thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions from the Common Council members on public hearing number 5? Seeing none, are there any questions from the members of the audience on public hearing number 5? All right. Then we will close public hearing number 5, and we will move on to public hearing number 6. And I'll turn it over to staff when you're ready. We might as well be consistent. Just get the microphone turned on, please. Thanks.
Renewal application for a noise variance permit for Oak Brewing Company at 6751 West National Avenue. So this is a public hearing for the noise variance that Oak Brewing has applied for this year. They first received one last year in October. The reason for noise variance is because there's certain limitations regarding general noise in residential and commercial manufacturing districts that are listed up on the screen. They were mentioned previously regarding when noise can start and when it can end during the day. Oak Brewing wants to operate outside of the code requirements and beyond the permitted hours, so that's why this noise variance is before you today. Last year, as I mentioned, it was approved. The approved hours of operation were Sundays from 12 to 10 p.m., Monday through Thursday from 4 to 10, and Friday and Saturday from noon to 10 p.m. It also had some requirements added by the council at that point. The outside music was to end at 10 p.m. The decibel levels were not to exceed 60, no amplified music, and the expiration date is the same as the public entertainment premise license, which is why this is coming up now, because the public entertainment license expires on June 30th. So for the current application that's before you today, the proposed hours are Sunday from 12 to 10, Monday 4 to 10, and then Tuesday, Thursday 4 to 11, and Friday and Saturday 12 to 11. So the difference from last year, what was approved was the extended closing times on Tuesday through Saturdays. This will be going before the Public Safety Committee during the recess. There's some options for consideration and recommendations to the council. The committee could decide to approve as submitted, deny it, or add conditions like there was added last year, and then recommend granting to the council. That's all I have.
Thanks very much. Are there any questions from the Common Council on public hearing number 6? Okay, hearing none. Are there any questions or comments on public hearing number 6 from the members of the audience? All right, then we will close public hearing number 6. Thank you, everybody who participated in the public hearings. We will move on to item E, which is public participation. This is where the Common Council may receive info from members of the public during this 30-minute period. Each speaker, once again, must announce their name and address, sign in at the podium, and please limit your comments to one statement of no longer than 5 minutes. Council and I cannot take action on the topics raised by the speakers, and we can't debate with you either. So, does anybody wish to address us under public participation? If you do, please, same routine as the public hearings.
Hi, my name is Philip Snyder. I live at 800 South 109th Street. I've been a resident there over 43 years. When I bought that house, it is open on both the north and south end at Theodore Trucker and at Walker. Sir Mayor, when you were just campaigning in March and came and rang my doorbell, and Alderman Wiggle, you came to my door, and I expressed to both of you and Mrs. Keene in the past, this is not my first rodeo here. I hate those barricades. For this northbound traffic on Highway 100 on Fridays and Saturday nights, the police come out and put up some A-frame orange barricades, or no left turn onto Theodore Trucker. Why can't I have the smaller, or put barricades up like you do when there's a block party, and block that north end of the street temporarily on Friday night and Saturday night for a number of hours, and then let me have access to Theodore Trucker like I've had for 40-plus years. It is a deterrent. I left home Thursday morning, May 23rd at 7:30. My street was open on both ends. I came home in the middle afternoon on that Thursday, and the north end was blocked. I was traveling east on Theodore Trucker. I had to go to Highway 100 and come around. It's not a big deal for you, but if I continue to go around the block to make turns to come back home, it is a nuisance. And I do not think the problems with the cruisers that were there 10 or 15 years ago is not an issue today. They do not use our street for a turnaround or a place that they would meet and park a car and then go do their cruising and come back, which was a problem. I mean, I was involved in those discussions with the police chief and all those things for a number of years. It was a problem. It has not been a problem, and I would like the city to try either no barricades at all or to put up those temporary ones for those 2 evenings. I should not have to be deterred 168 hours a week for something that people, and they're probably not even West Allis residents, that are doing that cruising and causing the issues that were there in the past. So thank you for listening to me again, and come and take them barricades down. I'd appreciate it.
Mr. Snyder, I had a feeling we'd see you when it got warmer out, so good to see you.
And I will continue to come until they're gone.
Well, and I did mention this to the chief after we spoke, and it is something where we would happily talk to the neighborhood again and see what everybody up and down that stretch is thinking, and I don't want to speak for the council members, but, you know, we're a democracy, so we'll listen to the majority of the people.
Yeah, and you had mentioned that about, I've heard that to take a petition around to the people on the block. I'm retired. I can sit and enjoy a cigar out on my park bench. And the people that live south of me never come to the north. Why would I go and ask them if that's a problem for them? I'm in the middle of the block. Theodore Tricker, 700, Walker's 900, my address 800. I'm in the middle of the block. I would like to be able to go either way. When I see the people that live south of me only go towards Walker, why would I ask them if that's a problem for them? They don't use it. But it doesn't mean that, you know, it should be blocked off for everybody.
Right.
The squeaky wheel gets the oil.
Thanks for your comments.
All right.
Anybody else wish to address the council under public participation this evening?
Hi, my name is Bob Stukenberg. I live at 2028 South 78th Street. I've been a resident in West Dallas my entire life. I currently work at Menards and also served as a pastor for a Risen Savior Bible Church for 9 years. And the current concern I bring to you today is this recent proclamation of Gay Pride Month. Us as Christians, we don't hate, and in fact, we love all mankind like Jesus Christ. In fact, God's word tells us that God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whosoever shall believe in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. And today we pledged allegiance to the flag, and we said one nation under God. And we live in a nation that was founded on biblical principles. So I'm just going to read a verse to you, and then we'll just take it from there. This comes from 1 Corinthians 6, verses 9 through, I think, 11. Know ye not that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of God? Be not deceived, neither fornicators, nor idolaters, nor adulterers, nor homosexuals, nor abusers of themselves with mankind, nor thieves, nor covetous, nor drunkards, nor revilers, nor extortioners shall inherit the kingdom of God. So when we look at that lifestyle, and we look at what the Word of God has to say, it groups all these sins into one thing. And interesting that the Scripture goes on to say, and it says, as such as some of you were, but you were washed, you were sanctified, you were justified in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ and by the Spirit of God. So these are all things that can be repented of. They're all things that Jesus Christ died for. And they're all things that are an abomination before God. So we celebrate Gay Pride Month, right? Well, how about an extortioner pride mark? The word extortioner could be translated as tax cheaters. Let's celebrate those that don't pay their taxes. Let's put up a flag for that. Thieves won't inherit the kingdom of God. Well, let's have Thief Pride Week. Why not? Let's fly a flag for 30 days to celebrate the people that steal. Just as wrong. And Jesus Christ died for sinners. And one thing that everyone has in common here is that they have sinned and have fallen short of the glory of God. Scripture said there's none righteous, no, not one. That all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. And Jesus Christ died for the homosexuals. Jesus Christ died for the extortioners and the thieves and the covetous and those that cheat on their wives. He died to set the sinners free. So they shouldn't be celebrated. They should be cared for. They should be loved to, and they should be brought to Jesus. That's my story.
Thanks for your comments. Does anybody else wish to address the council under public participation?
Good evening. My name is Terry Shimke, and I live at 2427 South 81st Street, West Dallas. My parents were residents here. I've enjoyed living in West Dallas, but I echo my brother, Pastor Bob, here in what he just said. And it grieves me, Mayor, that you would buy into the celebration of such a perversion. that lifestyle is not a normal lifestyle. And I don't know how much research you have done on that lifestyle and the gay community. There's a man, his name was Carl Whitman, who wrote the Gay Manifesto. Have you ever read that? If you haven't, I suggest you read it, because he lays it out what the gay movement is all about, what their agenda is, and the way they want their goals to go. They literally want it in every household that everyone should accept their lifestyle, no matter how grievous it is. They want, the flag out here is another issue, but it's horrible that that flag is flying out here in front of the City Hall. The LGBTQ plus is, do you understand what the plus is for? The plus is for child sex. The LGBTQ, the gay community, their part of their manifesto is to have sex with children. There's another guy, his name is David Thorson. He initiated and founded NAMBLA. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it's in the same latitude as the Gay Manifesto. NAMBLA, it's an acronym, it's NAMBLA, and it stands for North American Man-Boy Love. It's literally a pedophile desire. Their goal is to remove age consent laws. They're pushing this agenda, they're pushing their lifestyle, they're pushing this perversion, which is not a normal lifestyle. Who could ever imagine or think of having sex with little children is a normal thing? But they want everybody to think that it's okay, that's normal, accept it. If you don't, well, then they label you as homophobe, racist, whatever. As my brother, Pastor Bob said, though, Christ is the answer. These guys that wrote the manifesto, they're just filled with anger. They hate all kinds of people and groups, and it's just an amazing thing to read, and you can't help but see the anger in these people. And I would have to say that they are angry because they don't know God. They have, that's life without God. And if you proclaim to be a Christian, Mr. Mayor, you would know what the Bible says. From the beginning to the end is God's word. And
Sir, just to let you know, you've got 25 seconds left of your 5 minutes.
All right, thank you. Every word in that Bible is written for us to know and to learn and to live by the best we can. These people do not live that way. And I hope you have a change of heart and take that flag down and get rid of that proclamation. It's completely wrong and disgusting. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody else wish to address the council under public participation this evening?
Hi, my name is Juan Balderas, and I'm not a West Dallas resident, but I go to church here in West Dallas, and I shop here, and I eat a lot of your good restaurants here. Pegasus is one of my favorite ones.
Can you give us your address too?
1910 East Howard. I'm from St. Francis.
Thank you.
I was, when I drove by, I saw the flag in there, and then we started talking, and I said, I have to go and say something, because that lifestyle is not the normal lifestyle. Now, I have family members that are in that lifestyle, but I don't approve of them, but I still love them. And I still try to help them when I can and do things for them. But they know where I stand. And to keep promoting that with that flag there, I mean, I just love that we started off with the Pledge of Allegiance. It really was nice that you guys do that. That flag, the American flag, is the only flag that should be flying up there, or maybe the state of Wisconsin or the city of West Allis. No other group should be up there. The American flag represents all of us, every color, every race, religion, whatever lifestyle you practice. Even the gay lifestyle, the American flag represents. To promote that above anything else, like Pastor Bob says, are we going to start putting the BLM, the Antifa flag, the Nazi flag, the Ku Klux Klan flag? We're not going to do that because that's not accepted. To give them preference above everybody else is wrong. Now, I don't know how this council or how that was approved, Mr. Mayor. If the citizens of West Dallas, was there an amendment passed out? We're thinking of putting the flag up. We would like your opinion. I don't know how you guys came to that agreement, but we are going to let West Dallas residents know that you people stand for that by flying that flag. Now, we pass out some flyers here during State Fair, and we go to State Fair every year. We love the State Fair. So we'll be passing flyers out, letting know that the people, the council, approve of that kind of lifestyle. So hopefully the West Dallas residents will be calling you and letting them know their opinion. I hope they do. But if they don't, all we're called is just to tell the truth and to represent the gospel and tell people the truth. And what you do with it, it's on you. But some of you are up for re-election in a couple of years, and hopefully there'll be enough people that are against it that know that you represent that pedophilia and stuff like that, that hopefully some of you will be voted out of office. Thank you for the time, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Does anybody else wish to address the council under public participation this evening?
How we do? Thank you. First of all, yeah.
We have your name and address,
Yes.
please.
Yes, I'm getting to that. Yes, under the topic of this specific thing, obviously I'm on the same topic, a pastor here and the two others. Personally, I have been attacked physically as well threatened. I'd like to be able to refrain from my address or even my name. I could say good citizen, here a resident in the Milwaukee Metro, if that's suitable. I appreciate that. Thank you.
You could just give us a close intersection, I guess, if you want. Or a neighborhood, even.
Ogden and Farwell.
Thanks.
Okay. Very good. Yes, this is to everybody, but definitely addressing to those in authority. God has called every individual, especially even the governing authority, for God has created civil authority, civil government. As I looked at Romans 13, trying to think of some of the scriptures which you all need to hear, for is rulers, as you are, rulers in a sense, as we're locally here in West Dallas, those in authority, rulers are not a terror to good, but to works, or terror to good works, but to evil. To not condone evil and to protect the good and punish the evil. That is those in authority, all of you here, for he is God's minister to you for good. Speaking to all of us publicly, you guys are to be ministers of God, being called in the position you are, whether you're a Christian or not. That is what your calling is to be. And that's Romans 13. Also, before I get to Psalm 2, which is another good direct thing to those in a governing authority, I want to look for everybody here as Pastor Bob, and thank you, Terry, and such, that brought these truths forth. But yes, the good scripture, of course, of saying, for God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten Son. Whosoever believe in him will not perish, but have everlasting life. But here it says, for the things that we should not accept is what even as Romans 1 brings out. I'll try not to read the whole thing. He says, starting in Romans 1, starting in verse 18, he says, for the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness, unrighteous, in other words, evilness of men who suppress the truth and unrighteousness, because what may be known of God is manifested in them. In other words, we're all image bearers of God. God has created that, and we're all inclined in a heart, even to the strongest atheist. I had an atheist come up to me and tell me I don't believe in God. Well, I'm a Christian. I don't believe in atheists. But anyway, suppress the truth and unrighteous, because what may be known of God is already manifested in them, for God has shown it to them. I'm going to skip down a little. His eternal power in God is so that they are without excuse. It is. And that says we're not thankful, but became futile in their thoughts, become foolish, in other words. The hearts were darkened. And as what God would turn over a reprobate mind as we reject the very principles of God, professing to be wise, though, but yet we become fools. And the most foolish thing is to accept something as what men would do to each other, and then even redefine the very definition of God's creation of marriage. A man and woman taking a covenant of marriage is ordained by God, and I have to say, stress nowadays, man and woman. Even that has been perverted, where people can't even come to the knowledge of the truth. Professing to be wise, just become fools. And this is integrated throughout our society. West Dallas, throughout our Milwaukee metro, and children are so confused today. Suicide rates are up, and we got a flag right out there showing how stupid and foolish we are. Please, take it down. For those who even approve such things are worthy of death. Now, of course, not only just a physical death, but
Sir,
there
you
is
got
a
20 seconds left on your 5 minutes.
second death, thank you. Second death, it says in Revelation, those who separated God, that did not accept what God so loved you so much for, giving his only begotten Son, there is a second death. And that's the warning. Warning to you in positions, ladies and gentlemen, that you are to be ministers of God, upholding what is good and hating what is evil. Thank you very much. Is that mine?
Thank you. Any other people wish to address the council under public participation?
Good evening. I'm John Anopa, property owner at 6751 West National. Just a couple of ideas. I was on vacation a few months ago up in the UP, and it was refreshing to take a walk during the middle of the day to go from brewery to brewery. They had a district that was outlined by a map, or on a map, and each vendor had a cup with a sticker on it that was dated and allowed people to go from one place to the next and have a beer, or whatever that might be, an alcoholic beverage. But just a suggestion to start a brainstorming opportunity to create a district where there's more foot traffic during the day of people who are going from business to business and promoting each other's businesses. So again, I don't have a defined map in my mind as to where this might occur, but hopefully it might include Ope. There's many directions to go with that, but just thought I'd bring up that idea. And then one other idea I had was during the day, there's certain obviously different neighborhoods of the community that there was a lot of business or traffic on the roads at certain times in the last multiple decades where there is not any longer. And there's a lot of traffic lights that obviously there's concern about negligent driving. But if we could have a lot more flashing yellow lights and flashing red lights, that'd be wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else wish to address the council under public participation this evening? All right. That will then conclude public participation, and we will move on to announcing our standing committees. They will be meeting during recess. If you are here for a license or a permit or an agenda item, please take a look at the agenda for the room numbers, or if you need direction when we break for recess, please ask one of the council members or I or a staff person to make sure we get you into the right room. Item G is the mayor's report. I just have a couple items this evening. First, I want to thank everybody who helped put together our Memorial Day celebration a couple of Mondays ago. I want to thank the staff at Tanner Paul Legion Post. I want to thank Chelsea and the DPW and all of the members of the community and council that attended. It was a really nice ceremony with some very good speeches and really captured the specialness of that day. I also want to say the same for everybody that worked to put on our a la carte festival last Sunday in our downtown, including the downtown bid and city staff that pulled everything together to play their part, as well as just all the participants in the community as a whole. I want to just quickly mention that at long last, the Ethiopian Coffee Shop has opened on 77th and Greenfield. There was a soft opening last week, and she seems to be, I've heard she takes credit cards now. The credit card machine is up and running, so feel free to check them out on 77th and Greenfield. I want to remind everybody that this Friday, the Tour of America's Dairyland race is coming to West Allis. The route will be throughout the Beecher Street neighborhood. The races start at, I think, 10:30 or 10:45 in the morning, 10:45 in the morning, and go probably till about 9 at night. So if you have time to stop over there Friday, it's supposed to be a beautiful day. Check that out. Lastly, or I also want to mention on, just recently I was in a conversation with Chief Mitchell, and recently the police department during evening rush hours conducted a targeted traffic enforcement to help reduce reckless driving. And the officers focused on several areas in the city, monitoring for red light and speeding violations. The locations were picked based on crash data and higher rates of crashes with coupling with speed and red light violations. So I just want to share that during this 4-hour deployment period, officers conducted 35 traffic stops, resulting in 19 citations and 15 written warnings. There were citations written for speeding, red light violation, no valid driver's license, operating while suspended, seatbelt violations, and operating without insurance. There were some warnings given for red light violations and a couple warnings for speeding. So I just want to thank the police department for this effort. There will be more, and I think I can safely speak for every member of this Common Council that we are well aware of the concerns that our neighbors and businesses have about reckless driving, and we are not going to stop paying attention to those concerns. You deserve to feel safe walking around the city, and you deserve to feel safe biking around the city, and you deserve to feel safe driving around the city. So we are going to continue to ramp up traffic enforcement. Excuse me. That does conclude the mayor's report this evening. Are there any reports from the alderpersons?
Mayor Devine.
Alderman Haas.
I'm proud of my 2 gay kids. Thank you.
Mayor Devine.
Happy Pride Month.
Mayor
Alderman Novak. Alderwoman Novak, sorry.
That's okay. I kind of wanted to touch on that too. I just want to say that I'm very thankful to be part of this council and the fact that we are a council that simply focuses on spreading positivity and continuing to move forward and inclusion. And I don't want to speak for anyone up here, but I don't think any of us promote anything that is illegal in any way, shape, or form. We simply promote positivity. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor Devine.
Alderwoman Nolling.
I would also like to say Happy Pride from District 2, or at least myself in District 2. I think we speak together. And just a reminder to some of our younger friends in the LGBTQ+ community that the Trevor Project has a text line. If you are struggling, you can text START to 678-678 and speak to someone that can help you. Thanks.
Thanks very much. Any
Mayor
other alderpersons' comments? Alderwoman Grobe.
Not exactly on the same line, but Alderman Turner and I were able to attend the Hope Walk at Liberty Heights on the 31st, and we really appreciate all the work that the health department put into it, all the providers and the community groups who were there. It was really well attended, a great event, lots of resources, and I recommend anybody take a walk around the park and check out the positivity posted there.
Alderwoman Grobe, are you going to become the alderperson that reminds me of what I forget every week now? Like it was Alderman Weigel?
If you'd like.
On the bike race? Alderman Weigel.
Mayor Devine, thank you for touching on the bike race this Friday. I wanted to remind everybody, with its change from the Tuesday to the Friday, it's kind of a promotion for the event, but there's a new race. There's a new event in this series now, the Hand Cycle bike race. So this is the Tour of America's Dairyland. This is Pro-Am, so it's professional and amateur bicyclists racing at multiple venues around southeastern Wisconsin. This is the third year that they're here in West Allis. But because where we are in the schedule now, we have a hand cycle race, and so that's at 3:45 p.m. So that's for bicyclists who, for whatever reason, can't use their legs. So if you have never had the opportunity to go see that, that is really cool. And then, of course, the real race that everybody wants to see is the pro women with the, I believe both the Schneider sisters are racing. And that's at 7 p.m. That's their last race of the night. So see you all there Friday.
Thank you, Alderman Weigel. Any other reports from the alderpersons?
Mayor Devine,
Alderwoman Grisham?
I would like to take an opportunity to wish all of the fathers on our council a happy Father's Day weekend, as well as all of our gay and straight fathers in the community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor Devine.
Alderman Halverson.
Two things. Happy Pride. And Wednesdays, I will now be at the Senior Center at 10 o'clock in the morning till 11:30 doing karaoke. So come in with your best songs. We can do some Pantera, we'll, you know, Johnny Cash, whatever you want to do for an hour and a half every Wednesday.
Thank you. That's a hard one to follow. Any other alderpersons' reports? All right. Then we will move on to item I, approval of the minutes.
Mayor Devine.
Alderman Haas.
I move for approval of the minutes of the May 21st, 2024 Common Council meeting.
Second.
There is a motion with a second by Alderwoman Keene. Are there any corrections or changes to the minutes? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it, and the minutes are approved. Then we have no standing committee reports under item J, so we will move to K, which is the consent agenda. We had one request, I believe, to refer 23A? 23A to the Economic Development Committee. Does somebody want to make that motion?
Mayor Devine? I move that we refer item 23A to the Economic Development Committee.
Second.
Okay, if there is no objection, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And then on the balance, Alderman Haas?
And then on the balance, if there are no other requests for referrals to committee, then I move for approval of the items on the consent agenda.
Second.
There's a motion with a second by Alderwoman Noling. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Alderperson Keene.
Aye.
Novak.
Aye.
Nolling. Aye. Rote.
Aye.
Turner.
Aye.
Weigel.
Aye.
Grisham.
Aye.
Grobe.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
Halverson.
Aye.
10 in favor, 0 opposed.
Motion carries.
Mayor Devine.
Alderman Haas.
I move that the council stand in recess until the conclusion of our committee meetings.
Second.
There's a motion with a second by Alderwoman Grisham. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We are in recess.
0199, vacation and discontinuance of an improved alley between West Lincoln Avenue and West Grant Street and within the 2200 block of South 108th and South 109th Street.
Mr. Chair, item 41 and 42 are together. 41 actually should be placed on file, and you should take action on 42.
Okay.
Same with 43 and 44.
Okay. And it also should be pointed out, too, that of those garages, only one of them is serviced, or the alley, the one goes out on Grant, spills out onto Grant, so there's no problem there.
Yeah.
So it's just, it's the guy in the end, so sounds like he'll have to work it out.
Mr. Chair?
Yes,
I do have concerns based on the fact that this gentleman could at any given point have problems with the other neighbors. Just thinking to myself, I don't use the alley. Why would I invest in clearing snow and other things? And what if the property sells and the other new owner comes in and says, well, I don't have to do this either? It really puts this particular resident, who's unfortunate to be in the position that he's in this position. And I guess that's my 2 cents on it. And being he took the time to come here and express this, I think we need to take that into consideration. But this probably is a 2-part question for you, Melinda, as to the discontinuance and vacation of these 2 alleys. It seems like it's going to be a burden for these residents and businesses.
So for the alley on between Lincoln and Grant, we reached out initially and we talked with both the owner of the gas station and the property owner that's on the corner of Grant and 109th, and they both agreed to work with us on deeding their rights to that alley over to the gentleman whose garage accesses the alley proper, so that it will be basically his private driveway. And I explained that to him in the hallway. We've been working with Attorney Decker on it, and he's very happy with that. And so that would be that's the end goal of it. And the city's gonna facilitate that and work with all 3 property owners to see that happens. And he gets a brand new alley basically, and we use MMSD funding for that alley.
Okay, and with that being said, I know we had discussions of easements and whatnot. So will any of those other, it would completely be of his use and only his use? Okay, fair enough. If he's in agreement, that's a good result.
Yeah.
Motion to approve?
second. This one is the place on file, 41.
Oh, yeah.
41, okay, so then we go to 42.
Okay, motion to place on file, second?
Second.
Okay, been moved and seconded to place on file. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. And 42 is what again? I'm supposed to,
Adopt.
Okay, thank
If
you.
you want to approve it.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have to read it first.
Oh, I thought we took it together, that's fine.
Do you want me to read it first?
You don't need to.
Then I don't want to. Okay, item 42, is there a motion to either adopt or deny?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. They are stuck together. There we go, Road. Okay, same thing kind of with item 43, except I have some discussion items. So we'll take them together. Item 43 is the vacation discontinuance of an improved alleyway between West Electric Avenue and Mobile Street, west of South 54th. And 44 is Resolution 2024-0306, resolution on the vacation and discontinuance of an improved alley between West Electric Avenue and West Mobile Street, west of South 54th. My question, Melinda, is what spawned this? Were we going to put a new alley in there and then say, no, we're just going to,
The gentleman called, asked about the maintenance of the alley.
which gentleman?
The first one that spoke.
Okay,
When we discussed it in the engineering department, I asked the question, what's this alley used for? Because there is a north-south alley that runs all the way through. This is a small alley. There is a piece of storm sewer in there so we would keep a small easement for the storm sewer. But DPW doesn't use it, DPW doesn't need it for any, circulation, for vehicles to get in. It's really, they just plow it. Everybody else has access from the north-south. There's no garage doors that access that small piece of alley. The businesses are basically just using it to run their forklifts back and forth. They're kind of using it as their own private driveways. And they can keep it, they can use it. We don't have to tear the pavement out. It's just DPW doesn't need to necessarily try to make the turns. It's a small 14-foot wide alley. So, it's difficult to get the plows in and out of there. So we were just looking at some efficiencies and trying to help the DPW be a little more efficient in their plow routes and, getting up and down the alley for any other access, so.
So if they both can use that alley, both sides, why are they, I didn't get why they were here. If they can,
They don't want to spend money.
They don't want to pay the money
don't
for
wanna
snow
pay the money.
removal.
oh, that was the only reason, is the snow removal?
And a property
Yeah.
tax increase because
Of-
they
of
have
vacant
more
land.
property.
Well.
Yeah, a small amount, right?
Mr. Chair?
Alderwoman Grisham.
With that being said, that's the thing that sparked my interest in this is it seems like they are utilizing it for their business. And obviously, we've dealt with that a lot with businesses using roadways and whatnot to do business. The one thing that struck a chord with me is kind of that threat, not threat, saying, well, we'll just use the forklifts on Electric Avenue, which in my understanding, that should not be allowed. I don't think you can drive forklifts on city streets. So I would have liked to correct him on that and say, hey, listen, if that's what you choose to do, you're going to have enforcement. We'll have enforcement on it. We'll shut that down. So I don't like to have that type of interaction with residents who might be a little frustrated. However, if they've been in business that long, they are the ones that have been utilizing that. And they are the ones that have the advantage to the alley. I would see no reason why they wouldn't maintain and/or that we would allow this to be vacated and be their responsibility.
The other thing we did try to explain to them is if we do repave the alley, they do get a special assessment for that at the manufacturing rate, which is the highest rate. So it's $3,000 to $5,000. You can plow a lot of snow for $3,000 to $5,000.
Mr. Chair, I have one follow-up question for you, Melinda. They described this alley as being in ill repair if this is approved. Will the city mandate that they repair this or otherwise, or how do we look at that when something like this is ill-maintained?
I'd have to go look at the exact condition of it, and I don't want to speak for Dave, but I think maybe we could do some pothole patching or something before we turn it over to them. Or mastic. We would try to bring it up to a little better standard and then turn it over to
And then
them.
turn it over?
Not rebuild it, but.
Right, that would be reasonable in my opinion,
I think
because I
that's
would
fair
hate to
for-
see that it just be dumped on them and then they have to have, additional expense, which they're going to have to, but they use it.
So I think that if we at least pothole patch it, it wasn't, the city's not trying to be oh, we don't have to do our fair share of it, but we're saving them money in the long run, and we're getting rid of something that we don't really use for any city purpose, so it seemed from our side to be kind of a best option.
All right, thank you. I don't have any other questions. Motion to, are we gonna do 43? This is a place on file, right?
Right, 43 is,
Okay, motion to place on file.
Second.
it's been, any discussion, which we just had. It's been moved and seconded to place on file. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose, motion carries. Item 44. Is there a motion?
I move approval.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.
Okay, Public Safety Committee is called to order. Let the record reflect all members are present. We're going to start with item 54, Resolution 2024-0302, resolution authorizing the City of West Dallas to provide police services to the City of Milwaukee for the 2024 Republican National Convention.
I move approval.
Okay, there's a motion for approval. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in discussion?
Madam Chair,
Go ahead, Alderman Rowe.
I see we have the chief here. Could you hit a couple of the highlights on it? I know when the DNC was coming 4 years ago, and then there was some flu-like virus that shut it all down, but we were asking, which I thought was really smart on your part, that you guys, your staff wanted us, our cops, to get paid from when they leave the station, not when they got down to it, which I thought was just superb on your part. Anything else you can care to highlight? Is that going to happen again this year?
This year, the MOU that we signed, or that we will sign once you approve it, Kale has looked at it, it takes care of all of that. We will be reimbursed for actual costs. It'll be a busy time period for our city. We have 48 people that we're giving them names of, officers, that could work some part of the event. So not all 48 would work on any one day, but our SWAT team is one of the interior SWAT teams. So they'll be there, I believe, every day except one. So that'll be 10, 11, 12 people. And then they will have crowd control officers, that we have specially trained officers. We have 27 of those, and on any given day, maybe half of those would work. So we'll probably have 25 to 30 a day down there. And we'll be covered under mutual aid. If a police officer gets injured, it will be the City of Milwaukee responsibility. If a police officer gets sued, it'll be on the City of Milwaukee to retain lawyers to represent us and pay for it. So it's a good way to help our neighbor with.
So we're kind of subcontractors of Milwaukee?
Correct, correct. Yep.
Is Milwaukee paying for it then?
They get a grant.
Okay.
From the feds. So they use the grant. The City of Milwaukee is technically a pass-through to pay all these other entities.
Got it. Thank you.
Any other discussion? All right, thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
All right, is there a motion?
I move approval.
Okay.
Second.
All right, we had we already did that, I'm sorry. So, I'll just rewind that tape again. Okay, the discussion has been had, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. My apologies, Alderman Haas. Okay, item 55, 2024-0330, Southwest Suburban Health Department Current Initiatives Senior Center and Health Department Program Updates, Abatement Efforts, and Southwest Suburban Health Department Merger and Board of Health Updates. This is going to be presented, oh, look at you, you're right there. Hello, Bob Lightshaw. Thank you.
Pleasure to see you again.
Good to see you.
Like we never
So
left.
I would direct your attention to the communication that should be in your packet with just kind of the written, more detailed overview of progress to date with regard to the Southwest Suburban Health Department. I'll touch on the highlights, and then if you have, certainly any questions, throw my direction. But the merger slash consolidation is moving forward fairly nicely. With the merger, I'm just highlighting that we added an additional 37,000 residents to our jurisdiction. So when you combine Greenfield, West Dallas, and West Milwaukee, that in effect increases our target population to approximately 100,000 individuals. So that's definitely a big increase in just our reach as far as the health department is concerned. And then also with regard to that, when you look at the number of licensed establishments, so food establishments, anything that falls under DAC-CAP as well as DSPS, but in particular under the food side of things, we picked up an additional 236 facilities. And so that increases our total licensable activity between Greenfield and West Dallas to just shy of 900 establishments. And then with that as well, we picked up 5 Greenfield-based employees, as well as a couple vacancies. And so our total org structure at this point is 39 FTE. And we're in the process right now of onboarding all of those folks. To drop down a little further, the Southwest Suburban Health Department is going to be essentially overseen by a newly developed Board of Health. There are 5 mayoral appointments from West Dallas and 3 from Greenfield. Those have all come together, and then the Village of West Milwaukee, because we're still in a service contract with them, will retain their 1 membership. So we are on track to have our first official Board of Health meeting later this month, when the new Board of Health chair will be elected. So we will go through that process. With regard to the scope of services, I would say for all intents and purposes, the degree, breadth and scope of services that you in particular have been informed of to this point, as we have been the West Dallas Health Department, and now combining Greenfield, is in effect the same. And we really haven't changed services or programs significantly, which is making, I think, the alignment a little bit easier. So as a health department, I would say the vast majority of the funding we get is aligned. There are 1 or 2 kind of separate projects that they have been kind of moving forward with that are outside of the scope of what we have been doing as the West Dallas Health Department, but nothing that is really significant to the point where it's forcing us to bring everything to a screeching halt. The list that is provided there is just high level. So we continue with the clinically based nursing services, community health services, to include the car seats and installations, vision and hearing, and things like that. Environmental health services continue, as well as community-wide engagement activities, to include the Hope Walk campaign and things like that. The paint and sips are still moving forward. And then the ongoing implementation of our respective community health improvement plans. So as health departments by statute, we all have to have our own CHIP plans. And so Greenfield has theirs, West Dallas clearly has, we have ours. Really one of the initial projects and tasks at hand for the integration is to begin the process of really looking at kind of similarities and differences in terms of what our focus areas are. For the most part, you know, when we kind of talk about mental behavioral health, they have that as well, but maybe some different activities to support that. But we're working with the team there to get a better understanding of what they have been doing, things that they really, because they have been kind of short-staffed, haven't been moving forward with. Do we need to continue with those services? Really beginning to kind of scope those out. And then with regard to implementation of services, all staff involved between West Dallas and Greenfield continue to implement. And then as far as the integration, we have an implementation team that's internal within the health department. And we have done some basic asset mapping, identifying priorities, and then as well beginning to kind of rank order those as far as what we feel are going to be the most, the highest priority projects and tasks that we need to take on to begin with. To include things like onboarding the Greenfield-based staff of City of West Dallas employees. So they're currently still going through their kind of initial orientation. Developing a logo brand for the Southwest Suburban Health Department. So of course we want to have our own face. And so we will be working with a media agency to help us develop that. And then we're spending a lot of time working with IT on really just the technology that will support our ability to communicate across borders, in effect, recognizing that what we have here in West Dallas is one way of doing business, and the platforms that we have may not and are not what Greenfield necessarily uses. So we've been spending a fair amount of time with respective IT folks and really give a lot of kudos to Tony and his team to help us move that forward. And then as well, things like aligning our municipal code, those are another priority area where we need to give some deep attention to. Ideally, we want to try and streamline the codes to the point where we have one set that we can run with. Just to make a life a little bit easier for those of us who kind of, I don't want to say live and breathe, but certainly pay a lot of attention to those in order for us to do our business well. So there's been conversations with the Greenfield mayor about kind of the current makeup of some of their licensing fees. And so we at least have verbal commitment that he understands the importance of aligning. And so we'll have to kind of move that conversation forward. Creating mission and vision, we're starting that, the standing up of the new board. And then, again, kudos to yet another city department and finance, working very closely with Chris Moen on the finance side. So as you can imagine, there's a lot of budgetary development work, account setting up that's going into that process. And I would say, on the more positive side, again, because Greenfield largely had many of the same contracts that we have from Department of Health Services. From a department and programmatic perspective, we're very familiar with those scopes of work. But it's really now kind of working with Department of Health Services in Madison to combine all those different, and there's a number of them. We kind of live and breathe as a grant-based department. And so on the positive side, we're seeing some good signs from DHS that they are effectively pulling those grants and contracts together nicely. And so, again, I want to give a shout out to Chris Moen and her team who are helping us kind of move that process forward. So that's really what I have as far as the implementation activity really over the past couple months. And then we can touch on rodent rat abatement and senior center update, but if you have any particular questions with regard to the merger.
Bob, I do have a question. As we went over the numbers, or you just mentioned, with the amount of new residents to the health department, you said 5 employees have been added?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I guess the biggest question I have that residents would have is, with this merger, what do we gain versus what are our residents potentially losing as far as response time, needs met within the community for West Dallas itself?
Well, right now, we are really not spending a whole lot of programmatic time in West Dallas, or in Greenfield. Any kind of support that we're giving to Greenfield is largely more administrative support, just to help them implement the various programs and services that they have ongoing. So financially, we just really are not, I would say, without having the hardcore numbers, at a gut level, spending a lot of financial resources in Greenfield at this point. Although we'll need to, have that balance ultimately in terms of, where we kind of land with regard to our community health improvement plan focus areas, and just making sure that we have adequate staffing capacity and resources, not only in West Dallas, but as well Greenfield. And right now, I think with the funding that we have obtained through Greenfield and this merger is adequate at this point. I mean, we'll of course know more as we get closer to the end of this fiscal year, what the financial impact is. But we have every intention, of course, not to, give any particular balance to one versus the other. In terms of the financial commitment, the agreement with Greenfield is, and Rebecca, I would defer to you as well, but the formula that we agreed to with Greenfield is net new construction plus 1%. And so that's what they will be obligated to contribute. And then West Dallas also will be in that same vein, contributing to it. So there is going to be a balance in terms of proportional funding that goes in to support this this agency.
Okay, thank you. Is there any questions from?
I just want to say, I know before the, excuse me.
Go ahead.
Before this merger became effect, you guys are spending a lot of time in Greenfield helping them out and giving them assistance, so you really didn't have much of a problem doing that at the time.
So in fact, yeah, they were sending more of their clients and residents to West Dallas. So very little of our time was actually being spent in Greenfield. They were more so coming here for various services. And so that worked out well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
Well, I thank you for the presentation. Did you want to just touch on the rodent abatement?
Sure, yeah. I just have some numbers for you. So as of June 3rd, we have received a total of 83 rodent complaints. So in response to those 83, we have actually issued 233 rodent educational letters to those neighborhoods where we have elevated activity. In those particular neighborhoods, upon inspection, we didn't identify any active burrows. With that in mind, we did issue 10 enforcement letters where we did identify active rodent burrows, and with those, related violations were present. And so in effect, that means as we were doing our visual walkthrough and inspection, not only were burrows identified, but there may have been feeding going on as well. And so in those cases, 2 of those properties received a second order due to incomplete compliance. And no one yet has been issued any citations as of this year. And but what I have been told is that at least one of these 2 is likely to be in that situation sooner than later.
Okay.
In terms of the baiting that's going on, we continue with our relationship with ContraPest, so in effect the birth control for rodents. 50 ContraPest bait stations have been placed in 20 alleyways this year, and a total of 803 letters were sent to notify residents of those bait stations. And then we plan to essentially deploy an additional 175 bait stations using Orkin. Once we have a better, in effect, confirmation that the CDBG funds that help to support this will actually be awarded to the city. And so we have been in contact with the CDBG program folks, and hopefully they'll be getting the entitlement letter that I think comes from the feds sooner than later, that the city will be receiving those. So once we have a better feeling and I think better appreciation for those funds coming down, we'll get moving on that. So anything else on rodent?
Real quick, so ContraPest is the birth control, Orkin is then an extermination?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, exactly. So they're just kind of your traditional, we're gonna put the big bait stations out, the gray ones typically that you see. So we continue with them. We do know that they're an effective company, and but we're also finding that ContraPest is also effective. At some point in the near future, we'll probably present some more detailed information to the council on a particular project that we implemented around rats and rodents and just the mental health side of things, and just demonstrating that our presence is a relief, I think, for many, knowing that we're busy out in the community. And then senior center update, really the long story short there, as far as an update, is the new membership model that kicked in this year. By all appearances is going well. The membership numbers have increased significantly already. I think we're exceeding the numbers this year compared to the previous 2 years. Attendance, daily attendance is up as well, so we've got a lot of active members, and so really I think we're very pleased with essentially increasing access for those 55 and over by essentially doing away with the membership fee. I think we're seeing some positive results. And then two, we've begun to offer some additional free programs. The list is there. If you're into a harmonica and want to learn about the harmonica, check it out.
My former 5-year-old son loved his
Yeah.
harmonica.
I thought you were talking about some new computer program called Harmonica. No, you're talking about harmonica.
Yeah.
Please, yeah.
Alderman Halverson will do that.
Halverson
between
is
his
there,
karaoke-
yeah, with
Between
the
his karaoke gigs.
so that's sure gonna be a
Awesome.
hoot. Some of these things we need to catch on video, I'm sure.
Oh, we will, I'm sure.
But all in all, yeah, things are looking good at the senior center, lots of activity. Any concerns that we had about the stained glass and painting classes themselves, because they did realize a slight incremental increase in their fee. Everything is going swimmingly. The participation in those classes is on par or consistent with the numbers that we had last year. So none of the instructors have jumped ship. They're still on board. The only class that we had a little bit of concern and challenge with is the fiber arts, in large part because that instructor just has been dealing with some medical issues. So that got off to a late start, but I think things are picking up.
Okay. Well, thank you so much,
Sure,
Bob.
of course.
All right, and that was for discussion purposes only, so we're going to move on to item 56, 2024-0338, the moment everybody's been waiting for. New operators license, bartender Class D operator, application for Alexis Mesa. Is Alexis here?
Hi.
Hi, thank you for your patience. This was a very, very long meeting today. So, you received your letter, so you're pretty much aware why you've been asked to come to council.
Yes, ma'am.
And we have a works report here, basically showing that there's some things that are concerning on your record dating back from 2016 to as current as 2022. I have one question. Where will you be working, or where are you working?
I'm currently working at Happy Taps off of 68th and Beloit.
Okay. And how long have you been working there?
I was just hired at the end of April, beginning of May.
Okay. All right, and is this a full-time position for you?
It is part-time as of now.
Okay. Okay. Looking at your history of interaction with law violations, I see that you have a valid driver's license. You have a couple of OWIs in your past. Some of these things were real concerning over the period of time, because it's not the matter of just seeing one item, it's the accumulation of all of them to current.
Correct.
One of the things that we take obviously very seriously is when we're issuing these licenses, that we're issuing them to someone who's being responsible, who's going to be law-abiding, who's going to follow the rules and look out for others, make sure that they are being cared for. So can you offer maybe a brief history where you're at? I see 2022 was the last thing I see on your record, where
you know, a couple years later? Has there been some things that you've been going through?
Oh, yeah. I currently am enrolled in school. I actually start in the fall for nursing. I am a full-time dental assistant, so I am working full-time, just needing this for a little bit of extra money. I'm currently living on my own, just me and my son. That ended up changing over the past 2 years, so it's a new thing for me having to pick up another job to support him and I. Like I said, it is just us two, so that extra money coming in is kind of important for us. But other than that, you know, my future is really, really important to me. I am starting that nursing schooling in, I believe I start at the end of September at UWM. So that's just, I'm just kind of focusing on moving up from here for me and my son.
Okay. And you said, so you're going to school for nursing, that's gonna start in September, you said?
Correct, yes,
So
I'm enrolled.
part-time at Happy Tap right now, no other job that you're doing?
I am gonna be taking a step back from my dental assisting position.
Oh, you did mention that, I'm sorry, so, so dental assistant?
Yep.
Okay. I don't have any further questions, do any of the other committee members have any questions, or?
Madam Chair?
Go ahead, Alderman Haas.
One thing, this goes for you, and this goes for all of the other bartender license applicants in this room. A concern, we want all of our bartenders to cooperate with the police. That should go without saying, but sometimes it has to be said. If you're ever in a situation where you're thinking, should I or should I not call the police? The answer is always, call the police.
Absolutely. And my mom actually does own a bar up in Grafton, so she is very, you know, well-rounded with the police force up there and everything, and she doesn't hesitate to make that call. I also bartend up there occasionally, and we've had to make those calls, unfortunately, but it does happen, so it's not something I'm opposed to doing.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Haas. Anyone else?
I move approval.
Okay. there's-
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, opposed?
No.
4-1.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving along. Item 57, 2024-0349, new operator's license application for Rachel Evans. Is Miss Evans here? Is there a call or any
Madam
correspondence?
Chair, we did receive an email from her
This is,
potential employer.
okay. So there would be a.
Not sure that she's gonna be coming, so you could either deny it or place on file, whichever.
Okay, is there a motion?
I'll move to place on file.
Okay.
That's
motion.
nicer than denying.
It is. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you, Rebecca. Item 58, 2024-0350, new operator's license, bartender Class D operator application for Carrie Scherzewski? Scherzewski. You please correct me. Did I say it right?
Pretty close, Carrie
Okay.
Skajeski.
Hey, yay me. Okay, you heard the opening speech, and some of the same reasons that everyone is here is records come up. We want to see if you've had an opportunity for rehabilitation, if you can give us some explanation as to maybe what was going on at that time. There was a 3 to 4 year stretch that I see, Carrie, that, you know, you kind of had some disorderly behavior. Can you offer us any information?
Yes. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I brought my resume with me. I bartended for 8 years at Stenny's prior to quitting drinking. I haven't drank for 27 years.
Congratulations.
And thank you. And I am a member of AA. I go regularly. I went through, I married my drinking buddy, essentially. I won't go into detail, but we had a wonderful marriage for 20 years. And at 20 years, it just became dysfunctional, and he filed divorce. And I didn't expect it. I was teaching for 20 years for the City of Milwaukee Middle School Science, and I was Teacher of the Year in 2014. So up until 2015, I never had a ticket. And I was isolated, alone up north. I got the cabin up north, and I thought we'd get back together, and it just went through a very difficult period. I had to stop teaching, and couldn't work for a while, came back to Milwaukee, developed a good support system, and so I did develop breast cancer.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
And so I had some difficulty, but I have, since I started working again, it's made a world of difference. And so I just intend to work in West Dallas for at least the end of June, when the proprietor will no longer be running the establishment. And I have a job lined up Thursday at the airport as a bartender as well. So I have my Milwaukee license that I've applied for as well.
Okay, and where in West Dallas are you going to be working?
It's the bar and grill on 59th and Burnham. There's two of them, and I'm spending a lot of.
Marcus?
Pardon?
Marcus?
Yes, but I work for Ken.
Okay.
Marcus relinquished the license.
Okay, sounds good.
And I've been doing a lot of cleaning as a teacher in sobriety, and I've been known for organization. And so I've been doing a lot of cleaning, organizing behind the bar, and so that's been my kind of goal. And
Well, I personally appreciate you coming forward and sharing your story. I know it's not very easy sometimes, but it gives us reassurance that you are going to do just what Alderman Hassan, what we are asking of you is be responsible. So sorry for all the things that you did go through and being candid enough to share that. With that being said, is there any other discussion or anyone have any other questions? Okay, do we have a motion?
I move approval.
Second?
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, ayes have it. I didn't hear you, Alderman Rowe, did you?
No, I was with you on this one.
Okay, thank you. All right, thank you. You're all set. I was like, maybe it's not my good ear.
Kind of a fun group to be with.
Right? It's like we're looking over to you. All right, item 59, 2024-0359, renewal for operator's license, bartender Class D operator application for Daniel Lowe. Is Danielle here? Hi, Danielle. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Getting a little tired. It's been a long meeting, so, which I'm sure you relate.
Yeah.
This is a renewal for you.
Yep.
Same deal. We've got a little something on your record that showed up, and there's not much before that.
Yep.
So with that being said, I have a couple questions. Where will you be working?
Walker in.
Walker in. Okay. And what is the status of your driver's license currently?
Okay, Friday it's gonna be valid, so let's
Oh.
just say that.
So Friday it will be valid.
Yeah.
So the reason to celebrate. Are there any restrictions on your license?
Operational, I don't know, that one.
Occupational?
Occupational? That
Okay,
one.
so it will be occupational.
I have that and, yeah. and
Okay.
then
But you have the occupational license currently, or you will have an occupational license?
Friday I'm clear, I'm good to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, and what other requirements did you have to meet?
I had
For
to take
rehabilitation.
that one class at METC for a few weeks.
Okay.
It was like the bare minimum of whatever the counselor said.
Okay, and Miss Lowe, is this gonna be your one and done? Never again?
Yes.
Okay. I don't have any further questions.
Madam Chair,
Go ahead.
how did you get here tonight?
I got dropped off. My car's not here. You can watch me.
That was a good answer.
And he may.
And you know what? And we will.
So you know, if IT is anywhere out there right now.
No, that would be my luck, like this close to being at the end.
Why you
so-
think he's
I wouldn't call it luck.
Yeah.
No, right, exactly.
Yeah, it's easy
That's
to
my
follow
bad
the law.
luck.
It's
Yes.
easy to obey the law.
Absolutely.
Just gotta
So-
follow the rules. It's easy.
All right, with that being said, is there any other further discussion?
I move approval.
All right. motion-
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a tie on the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Good luck, Daniel.
Good luck.
I'm going this way if you guys wanna watch.
Okay. Do we need a recess?
No, I just
Suddenly, we have to all go to the bathroom.
I just make a phone call in the morning.
Yeah,
It's real
right.
simple.
Don't worry, we got Chief in the back there. Okay, we have, this is gonna be fun for me to pronounce.
Anakin?
Yeah, so 2024-0360, new operators license, Class D operator application for Anakin Shemarowitz? Shemarowitz? No answer. Anybody? Okay,
I know him, actually. He works for, Trixie's Chops.
well, you let him know that he missed out.
He
On
should
a
have showed
very
up.
fun evening here at council. Okay, with that being said, is there a motion?
Should we place it on file or deny?
Don't we deny?
We've been doing a denial.
Then I move denial. I move for denial.
Based on,
Based on non-appearance and the record.
okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Almost sounded like Mr. Vitale. Alderman Vitale. Ayes. Ayes. Hi, Vince. 61, we have 2024-0361 renewal for operator's license bartender Class D operator application for Danielle Nichols. Is Danielle here? Same drill, Rebecca?
This is a renewal, so you might wanna,
Place on,
hold it.
okay, so, motion to put on hold?
So moved.
Okay, second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Item 62, 2024-0362, renewal, operator's license bartender Class D operator application for Chris Shooty? Shoot?
He's not here.
Okay. It is Shooty? Yay me.
Nice.
All right, same deal. Is there a motion to place on,
Is
to
this a
hold?
renew as well?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's a renewal. So, yeah, let's hold it. I don't think we need to vote to
No, we
place it
don't,
on
do we?
hold,
Yeah, just, okay.
As long as there's no objection.
Thank you, Mr. President.
When you say it's on hold, what does that mean?
That he'll have the opportunity to come back.
Okay.
Yeah, so, yeah, we're not acting on it, we're not
Not acting, we're not
denying
denying it.
We're not approving it. It'll carry over to another council
Yeah.
meeting, he'll have a chance to come back.
So you just tell Shooty to get his boot, oh, I'm
His
sorry.
boot, yeah.
I was gonna say, he's my bartender, so I'm like, does he
Yes.
have, so it'll be redone on.
We gotta take you anywhere, can't we?
I know you can. It's very
You
professional.
can get a provisional for,
I just, as the employee.
I at least thought it.
or you can watch
Oh, no.
them for 10
Just
days.
got some on my lips.
Thank you.
All right, so item 63, 2024-0368, new operator's license bartender Class D operator application for Anastasia Ewing.
Ewing.
That was on Dallas, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. the whole
Years
Ewing
ago,
thing.
I've shown my age. Okay, any correspondence?
No.
Okay, is there a motion?
Move to deny.
Okay, second?
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, and that was based on,
Based on the record and non-appearance.
Appearance, yeah.
thank you, Alderman Haas. All in favor was aye, the ayes have it. Item 64, 2024-0392, new operators license bartender Class D operator application for Jennifer Fritsch. Jennifer,
Please don't call me that, Jen.
would you like me to call you Jen?
Actually, in the bar scene, I'm Gypsy, but yeah,
Okay,
Jen's fine.
well, we're not gonna, we're not calling you that.
All good.
Ms. Fritsch, it is. Yep, yep.
All right,
Which explains my record right there. Ms.
Oh.
Got divorced and decided to live what I should have in my teens, in my 30s, and
so new application, where will you be bartending?
Manny's Grill.
Why do I not know where Manny's Grill is?
It's the old Hammers, Johnny Hammers.
Okay, now I know. Thank you for. All right, and same thing, looking back, but these seem to be fairly dated
Yes.
on your record. But I do have a question for you as to the status of your driver's license
Nope,
right now.
And get it, my driver is sitting right outside. Uber is one little thing. Love it.
All right.
I can actually show you my recent rides. I'm not even gonna play with that. I do not drink like I used to at all. However, responsibility. I do have my Milwaukee license.
Is that back from one of these?
This is from Milwaukee.
Okay.
It did expire in '23.
Okay.
They did issue me my license, which going through COVID, it was on the phone. I was like, wait, what does that mean? They're like, we're giving it to you. I'm like, I didn't need it though anymore. I was working at Amelia's down by the airport. I applied in March. It took till June to get it, so I didn't have that job. Long story short, hi guys, here I am. Please give me my license.
Okay, and, well, Ms. Fritsch, you heard exactly what we said to others and what our expectations are.
Absolutely.
Of you in issuing a license, and we take that quite seriously. So, with that being said, I'll pass it along to anyone else who would like to speak. Otherwise, is there a motion?
I'll move approval.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you.
You guys are wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your patience tonight.
Oh my goodness, yes. But I won on my scratchers, so. That's what we do in the bars.
Good night,
Oh, yes,
Gypsy.
thank you.
All right, item 65, 2024-0393, new operator's license, bartender Class D operator, application for Kayla Siki? No show? No correspondence? Is there a motion?
Move to deny based on the record and non-appearance.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it. Okay, moving right along, we have, are we done with our licenses?
Yes.
Wow. Okay, we have a supplemental one here, I think. That's 65A 2024-0328, Class B Tavern Seasonal Temporary Premise and Public Entertainment Extension. Request for the Deco, 7140 West Greenfield Avenue for outdoor dining with entertainment, music from May 25th until November 2nd, 2024. Hello.
Hello.
You have a lot of patience, too.
My daughter has a lot of patience.
Yes. Well, thank you. How are things going over there?
Good.
All right. Now, our seasonal permits obviously have been going from Memorial Day to Labor Day. Are you planning on what days for the music and entertainment?
We
for-
do music on Wednesdays, and I think we're extending that to Sundays. But last year, we ran it to the end of October, and everything was fine.
Okay, and forgive me because I had notes on it, but I placed my notes in my other tote. You're just looking for Wednesdays and Sundays that you're doing that for now, or you're doing it Wednesday through Sunday?
Right now, that's all we have planned.
Okay.
Because generally, we do, the Fridays and Saturdays are the weddings.
Okay.
So, or what have you, but we don't intend to do anything on Tuesdays or Thursdays at this point.
Okay.
We're just getting in front of the board for a year extension because we are hoping, we have plans with the city to actually work a long-term lease out on that street. So this is just basically, I might be in front of you as soon as next month again for something long-term.
Okay.
So that's kind of where we're at.
All right.
But our intentions are Wednesdays and Sundays.
Okay.
And Fridays and Saturdays, if they decide to use it, we've been a lot of rain lately, so they haven't been able to.
Right. And with this being said, I know Kale's not up here, but Rebecca, in past, when we have this extension, we can do it from, the Memorial Day to Labor Day, but then just do that extension for Wednesdays and Sundays through November.
That's what.
In
they're
the
gonna do.
event that, yeah, because you can have 32 events, correct, Rebecca?
Yes.
So you can have 32 events, but if we're extending it past November 2nd, I don't know, does that give carte blanche to saying, okay, it's Wednesdays and Sundays right now, but it could be every day of the week if he so chose, without conditions?
Correct, and the hours, the permitted hours are Sunday through Thursday, 10 to 8, and Friday and Saturday from 10 to 10. The variables for the application are Sundays until 10 p.m. and then Wednesdays until 10 p.m. So you might want to consider having those days at 8 p.m.
Right.
instead of the 10 p.m.
Yeah, that would definitely be, and the reason we have done that in past, there's kind of been a precedent set, is obviously, especially after school gets back in session,
your residential, it's a residential area, you
Yeah,
know?
the only thing I would ask is, I would have no problem with that on Sundays. I would only ask that on the Wednesdays, we keep it like it was, because we started to form the clientele. And what we did last year is we started out music started from 7 to 10, but then we backed it up from 6:30 to 9:30. Because everybody, they're at work till 5:30, no one can get out till 6:30.
So you're pretty much done by 9:30?
Yeah, the music's done by 9:30.
Okay.
So people can technically stay out there, but instead of us booking the bands, they do 3 hours. And this isn't big rock bands. This is one. We're limited to 1, 2, or 3 person. So
Okay.
this is mild, chill music. This is not Bella Keane at State Fair. So I just want to,
All right.
it worked out very well last year. We've gotten dozens and dozens
I've
of
heard
requests.
positive
Yeah, so
things,
it's
so.
been good. But we're anticipating on even 6 or 7 o'clock on Sundays. So
Okay.
the 8 o'clock would be fine on Sundays.
Okay.
And keep in mind, we may not even start Sundays for a while because we're booked on Sundays for events. So the Sunday thing may not happen for a little while.
Okay. All right, does anybody else have anything to add? So as it would stand, the request, we would need a motion on that with the condition that Sunday would be changed to no later than 8 PM.
And keep Wednesday at 10 p.m.
Wednesday at 10 PM. So, can that be noted for, we need a motion.
I move that an amendment that it's, the Wednesday can continue for 10 p.m., so there's no change there. And Sunday, the music concludes at 8 p.m.
Okay, is there a second?
I second what he said.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, board.
Thank you.
And we have a drum roll here for our very patient person. Item 67, 2024-0347, renewal application for noise variance permit for Oak Brewing Company, 6751 West National Avenue. Welcome, John.
Good evening.
And those were great ideas that you suggested, by the way. I don't know where we'll all brew, where our brew, but
trying to lighten the mood.
I'm sure it'll happen at some point.
Yeah.
So, looking at your application, I know last year was really difficult because one of the things I just want to note on record to everyone, our noise ordinance and how it's written right now with decibels is insanity. And I'm hoping that we, in the future, look at it a little bit differently. Maybe for the health department, decibels work really well, but I think we set you at 65 decibels, which basically is a conversation, 60,
Yeah.
that I'm having right now.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, another misconception I just want to note on the record is something that we would talk about is amplified music. Just to kind of set this straight, amplified music is anything that goes through a speaker. So it doesn't have to be a band. So when we're looking at no amplified music, it made no sense. So we basically said that you can be 60 decibels, but no music.
Right.
So my apologies for that. But with that being said, you're coming forward tonight and you're asking for, I think it's for your volleyball, your outdoor activities? Is that what you were talking about,
That's
tournaments
our
and things?
Outdoor patio and volleyball. We have volleyball Sunday through Thursday currently. We'd like to expand on that a little bit, but in general, we've made improvements technology-wise. Our sound system has the capability of scheduling when it turns down and when it turns off.
Hey.
We still have
Fancy.
issues with Spectrum Internet being absolutely terrible, and when people get home from work and people get home from school, everybody gets on their devices and our internet goes to.
Thanks.
Yeah. So we are looking to get fiber internet, which will improve our quality of services and music and everything. But essentially, what I'm suggesting, round numbers, again, 60 decibels like a conversation. And there's going to be people out there playing volleyball until approximately 11 p.m. on the nights we have volleyball. So I'm suggesting that we turn it down to 60 at 10 p.m., which is the current off time. So 60 at 10 p.m. and off at 11, 80 decibels aside from that. So prior to 10 p.m.
Hey, you're a good negotiator. Initially, when I was reading this, one of the biggest things that we deal with as alders and we have to consider as a committee, for me, is this time of year with noise. Whether it be the neighbor next door, it's the business. We love that that's the entertainment hub, but we have it set for 10 p.m. for that reason. I know that you're gonna have volleyball. I know people are gonna be outside. You got whistles. I don't think volleyball is that intrusive, but you've had last year 4 complaints that are on record. And I don't know where they came from or who they came from, but it's a kind of a populated area with Sona and Nona there, and sound bounces off. Maybe that 11 p.m. is just a little too late, in my opinion. I understand the 60, that would just be ambient music, really, if that's the case, but I wouldn't want to see any problems, you know, that the neighbors, you know.
Right, and we don't either.
I'm sure you don't.
The police have stopped by it a couple times with complaints.
Yeah.
Once, I want to say in the last year, and the previous times were prior to the last hearings similar to this. And the one time they stopped by in the last year, they said, we do not have a problem at all with your noise. Currently as it is, it was a weekday at like 3 p.m.
Yeah.
And they said, we're just coming by to let you know there was a complaint. You can do with what you like with that information.
Yeah. They always say that when they don't have to sleep next door to it.
But it really, it
But I get what
wasn't
you're saying.
intrusive.
Right, right. And 3 p.m., that's a totally different story. So with that being said, I gave my 2 cents on it. As far as what I think we should follow is that the regular noise ordinance to not exceed past 10 p.m. I'm not going to set that decibel because it didn't make sense to me in the first place when we came up with 60. And I'm hoping at some point we look at that ordinance and change it. That's a whole different conversation. So we have establishments that are allowed to have 100 decibels. I'm not going to restrict you to 60 in my opinion, but it's not up to me. So I would recommend that we allow the variance, but 10 p.m. is the cutoff time.
Yeah, Madam Chair.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with you, to get to the point. Yeah, I'm conflicted on this. I want to support OPE. It's a great operation. I want to do what we can for business. I want to support business in our city, and this is something that we can do. But yeah, what if I live next door? And that's the thing. And we do have a bright line of 10 p.m. in our city. Yeah, I'm okay certainly with the increased decibels, but not after 10 p.m.
Okay. And I just want to add to that, John, if you're having a tournament or it's a 1 or 2 time thing through the summer that you want that extension, I don't think we probably would oppose that.
No.
But when you're talking, you know, a daily operation, 10 p.m. is just the cutoff time.
Understood.
Okay? So is there a motion on that then? Or is there any other discussion, should I say?
I just like to say one thing. Just want to tell John, great job over there now. Keep it up. And really, the noise, you hardly hear it, but it's finally got a place around where you can have your kids come and be with your family as well. And I've never seen anyone out of control over there. And I go there a lot. So thank you very much. But he
A
knows,
lot, right?
He knows I only drink soda. Now my wife.
All right.
Real quick,
My wife, that's a different story.
Go ahead.
just to clarify, so after 10 p.m., still no music, not even at that 60 decibel talking level?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's just to stay in line, like I said, we have that noise ordinance for a reason, and it'd just be too many days of the week. So with that being said, do we have a motion on that?
I move for approval with the amendment that no noise after 10 p.m. Well, no music after 10 p.m. That is what I mean.
Okay.
Madam Chair,
Go ahead.
is that allowing the 80 decibels before 10 p.m.
Yes, is my intention.
and the expiration date? It was currently with the public entertainment, but you don't have to have it. You can put whatever you want.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be annual. It can be more than 1 year. Otherwise, each year we go through this.
Okay.
Right.
But
3 years, 4 years, 5 years.
However,
Yeah.
80, we had our little training in the parking lot with 80. I mean, there's gonna be moments that 80 isn't going to carry very well. So if we're gonna allow that 100, and I think Paulie's has the 100, I think it would be reasonable and fair to say the same thing. So if you
Yeah.
did have a band on occasion, and you get a complaint, that we're not gonna send health out and say, okay, you're beyond that, 80 mark. So, is anybody opposed to that? No. Okay, so if you make that amendment, can you amend it to the 100 instead of the 80?
So I move for approval with the following amendments. Number one, no amplified music after 10 PM. A decibel threshold of 100 decibels, and that this will last 3 years.
Okay, and may I add, now, what were the dates requested? Monday, Sunday through? Because there is a stipulation with Polly's and some others that on Sunday evenings, it's done at 7.
Sunday and Monday were ending at 10, and the rest of the days were 11.
Okay. I hate to put so many conditions on it, but it would make sense. I mean, if we would say, okay, on Sunday nights, obviously, you're not gonna be rocking it out at 100 decibels, hopefully, at 10 PM.
Right.
So if we're,
Honestly, Sunday, I'm good with 8 PM.
okay,
Yeah.
so can we amend that?
And Sunday, 8 PM, that's number 4.
All right. Okay. All right, do you mind reading that
Ready to
back,
go?
Rebecca?
Sure. I just need clarification on the 100 decibels. That means before 10.
Before 10 p.m.
10 p.m. or 8 p.m. on Sunday.
Or 8 PM on Sunday,
And
yes.
after 7 a.m.
After 7 AM, between the hours of 7 AM
Yeah,
and
so
10
our
PM.
regular noise
Okay.
ordinance hours,
Yes.
Yes, okay. So
or quiet hours, I should say.
after 10 p.m. on Monday through Saturday, no amplified
You gonna remember all this,
music.
John?
Yeah.
100 decibels,
He'll be there later to
from
tell you.
7 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Not tonight.
Expiration date, 3 years from June 30th, because that's when this expires, so it's July 1st, 2027. And then Sunday is, the end time is adjusted to 8 p.m.
Perfect.
Okay.
All right, there's a motion, is there a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it.
And you
Thank
have
you.
to approve his public entertainment,
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
okay.
or you don't have to, but it's
Like you have to. Be done with that. Because you have to hear, you want the gavel. Okay, I thought I was on item 67, so now we're gonna do 67, 2024,
66.
66, I'm
You skipped.
sorry.
You skipped.
Thank you, people. 2024-0329, renewal application for public entertainment premise license for Oak Brewing Company LLC, doing business as Oak Brewing Company, 6751 West National Avenue. Agent John Anopa. Is there approval?
Hey, vote to approve?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it.
I move we adjourn.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
We are adjourned.
Thank you. Have a good
Thank
night.
you.
Thanks,
And
John.
we did this all
John.
before 10.
Good evening. We'll call the council back to order, and I will ask clerk to call the roll.
Alderperson Kane. Here. Novak.
Here.
Nolling. Here. Rote.
Here.
Turner.
Here.
Weigel.
Here.
Grisham.
Here.
Haas.
Here.
I'm sorry, Grobe.
I'm also here.
Ass.
Here.
Halverson.
Here.
10 present.
We have a quorum. We will begin with the Administration Committee.
The Administration Committee recommended adoption of items 36 and 37 and accepting the city attorney's recommendations for the remainder of the committee report.
Mayor Devine, I move in accordance with the committee report.
Thank you, Alderman Weigel. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I will ask clerk to call the roll.
Alderperson Keen. Aye. Novak.
Aye.
Nolling.
Aye.
Rote.
Aye.
Turner.
Aye.
Weigel.
Aye.
Grisham.
Aye.
Grobe.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
Halverson.
Aye.
10 in favor, 0 opposed.
Motion carries. And we have the Public Works Committee.
The Public Works Committee recommended adoption of items 40 and 42, placing on file items 41 and 43, and adoption of item 44.
Mayor Devine, I move in accordance of the committee report.
Thank you, Alderman Rote. Is there any discussion on this committee report? Hearing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Alderperson Keen.
Aye.
Novak.
Aye.
Nolling.
Aye.
Rote.
Aye.
Turner.
Aye.
Weigel.
Aye.
Grisham.
Aye.
Grobe.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
Halverson.
Aye.
10 in favor, 0 opposed.
Motion carries. Thank you. And then we will move on to the Economic Development Committee.
There are 3 items from items 46, 47, and 48 that recommendations were made at the committee, but the council cannot take action due to them not being on file for 15 days, so they'll be listed on the subsequent council meeting.
Okay.
The remainder of the items, the council or the committee recommended adoption of item 45, holding item 49, passage of item 51, adoption of item 52, and approval of item 53.
Mayor Devine?
Mr. Chair?
Attorney.
Mr. Chair, so just to ensure, items 47, 48, and 49 were the ones that could not be acted on, I believe?
46.
45,
I'm
46
sorry.
is approved. Yep, 47, 48.
47, 48, and 49.
Okay.
So 45 and 46 were recommended for adoption.
Okay.
And
23A.
23A,
Was
we
referred.
adopted. We approved it.
Okay.
With a
Malt
limited,
beverage only.
So we have,
Should you want me to read it again?
I think I might, well, yeah, you probably got a better piece. I would have been doing it from memory.
No. The Economic Development Committee recommended adoption of items 45 and 46, hold item 49, pass item 51, adopt item 52, approve item 53, adopt item, or grant item 23A with a condition that it's malt beverage only.
Yep.
Is that a motion?
Yes, Mayor Devine, I approve what the committee just.
Report?
Yes, the committee report.
Recommendation.
Thank you. Any discussion? Okay, if there's no discussion, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Alderperson Keen.
Aye.
Novak.
Aye.
Nolling.
Aye.
Rote.
Aye.
Turner.
Aye.
Weigel.
Aye.
Grisham.
Aye.
Grobe.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
Halverson.
Aye.
10 in favor, 0 opposed.
Motion carries.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I wanted to alert the council to the fact that the applicant for number 48 was here during the committee meeting, but was in a different room. And so she was not appearing, or she did not appear before the Economic Development Committee. And speaking with her afterwards, there was an interest in having that item referred back to committee. So if the council finds it to be okay, then a motion to refer to the Economic Development Committee would be in order for item 48.
Okay.
I'll move that we send item number 48 back to the committee.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion, a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you. All right. Then we can move on to the Public Safety Committee.
I'm going to read out item 56 separately. The Public Safety Committee recommended adoption of item 54, placing on file 57, granting 58 and 59, denial of non-appearance and the record for 60, holding items 61 and 62, denial based on non-appearance and police report for 63, grant 64, denial, non-appearance and police report for 65. For 65A, approval but changing the closing time on Sunday till 8 p.m., granting item 66, and then approval of item 67 with the following conditions. No amplified music after 10 p.m. The decibel level is set at 100 before 10 p.m. and after 7 a.m. There's a issued for 3 years from June 30th, and the Sunday hours end at 8 p.m.
Mayor Devine, I move for approval of the Public Safety Committee report.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion. I don't think we need a second on that. But it's good to be there. And that's with the exception of item 56, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so on the balance, if there is no discussion,
Mayor Devine?
there is discussion. Alderman Weigel.
On item number 65A, is the addition of Sunday to that extension new?
Mayor, go ahead. Mayor Devine, if I may?
Yep, go ahead.
No, it is not new, but we were kind of following the course of what we had approved in past.
That's what I was curious about, because I was under the impression that previously Sundays, and is this extension then allow, so like on Wednesdays, they essentially operate, they have the music, and they essentially operate a bar on the street. But my understanding was the original extension was Fridays and Saturdays was for service related to events within the building. And he wasn't going to be doing events on Sundays, which is why he didn't have Sundays in his original application.
That wasn't discussed, and if I may defer to Rebecca on that, I believe we read out what the request was, which was inclusive to Sundays.
Yeah, I saw that Sunday's in there
Yeah.
now. I don't know, I guess I don't have a
However,
problem with it. but
Yeah,
I
we just backed up and said we'll reduce that noise level to end at 8 on Sundays, and he actually stated that it probably would be even earlier than that. So I don't know that he's having specific events. He just wanted those options open.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, go ahead.
just to clarify the question, the Friday and Saturday would be exclusive access for the deco. The Sunday hours would not be exclusive. The public would be able to still use the property on Sundays.
Thank you.
And Mayor Devine, I
Yeah.
apologize because I'm very tired. And I was speaking of OPE and not DECO. So in case everybody doesn't realize I don't know what I'm talking about right now, it was OPE. I mean, it was DECO. Thank you.
We might have to start these meetings at 6 from now on. We're all running on fumes. Yeah. All right. Where are we? Are we voting on the balance right now? We have a motion and a second, and that was discussion. All right, Madam Clerk, please call the roll. We have a resolution, I think.
Aye. Novak.
Aye.
Elling. Aye. Rote.
Aye.
Turner.
Aye.
Weigel.
Aye.
Grisham.
Aye.
Grobe.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
Halverson.
Aye.
10 in favor, 0 opposed.
Motion carries. Now we have item 56, which was I'm guessing a split vote?
Yes.
Okay,
4 to 1.
4 to 1. Do you want to move approval of that one? Okay,
I move for approval of item 56.
all right. And I'm sure everybody wants to know why there was a one vote. Does anybody want to elaborate on the one vote?
Just based on
Wrote.
the applicant's record.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
And an aye vote means to approve,
Correct.
grant the license. Okay.
Yes, because it passed 4-1. So, okay. If there's no other discussion, then I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Alderperson Kane. Aye. Novak.
Aye.
Noling.
Aye.
Rote.
No.
Turner.
Aye.
Weigel.
Aye.
Grisham.
Aye.
Grobe.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
Halverson.
Aye.
9 in favor, 1 opposed.
Motion carries. Thank you. All right. To item N,
Mayor Devine.
Alderman Haas.
He said item N, and I had to look. What's item N? Oh, adjournment. Yeah, I move that we adjourn
At
until
long
our
last.
next regularly
Second.
scheduled meeting, July 10th.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm not even giving the nays a chance. We're adjourned.